Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the PPL Paladins Premier League. Kicks off day one, game 2 here with our history matchup. Na'Vi going up against Kanga Esports. We just had a great game, obviously, with the PPL kicking off today with NIP going up against Virtus Pro. NIP remain undefeated, and Virtus Pro, however, still looking very, very good.
How's the team?
Biggest thing for this matchup is just what are we looking at for Na'Vi? This is their first time we're seeing them with their full roster. Not only that, but so much has changed since we were able to see them last. I mean, we have Kanga looking like a completely different team, VP looking like a completely different team, the NV that beat Na'Vi.
Yeah.
Looking like a completely different team,
Definitely.
falling off and losing to a lot of different teams. But people, I think the general vibe is that they're still not worried about Na'Vi. I think Na'Vi, I had a chance to chat with them quickly in our break room. They were very, very confident in their flexibility. So a big thing I'm looking at now is that I really do consider VP and Kanga to be pretty closely contested to each other. But what does NIP look like stacked up against Na'Vi?
Well, a great question. Both of these teams actually trying to redeem some performances they had at High Res Expo of 2018. But if you want to join in 2019, make sure to grab your tickets. Those are on sale, so you can make sure you're a part of the festivities. All of this year, all of this season really culminates at High Res Expo. So you make sure you check out that link and you follow us and grab some tickets early. I mean, they do run out and earlier than you think. So make sure if you're interested, just book that right away. But, Nick, you feel very confident about Kanga. And my question is, do you feel that Na'Vi are going to be impacted by Kanga? Or do you feel like this is a game for kind of Na'Vi to lose, especially now that Mutu is back? And these are, former world champs, these 5 guys.
I can honestly say, and it excites me to be able to say that I have no idea what Na'Vi are going to look like today. It's their first match with Mutu being in the house. They think... They have a lot of confidence. I don't think they were going to give me anything like, I don't know how we're feeling really about it.
I don't know.
Mutu feels very good specifically. He seems like he's got a lot of aces in his sleeve today. I'm curious to see what those are exactly.
I think it's really funny because we're taking a look at Creatives here, who is a former world MVP. So you got to make sure you pay attention to him. But Mutu looks like he's been on a journey. Like he looks like he graduated college and went on like a year abroad, comes back, and he looks completely just matured and having experienced life. He's no longer the young buck that he was.
Got a dog?
Got a dog, maybe? I don't know if he's in that phase. I mean,
No,
maybe.
he did get a dog.
Oh, he did get a dog.
Straight up, yeah.
Wow.
Wicked cute.
Well, I guess he is literally in that phase then. Good for him. What kind?
I don't know.
More important than his replays.
It literally looks like the dogs that Bitey always
The
posts,
Borkers.
like the little boofy boys.
I'm surprised Bitey didn't tweet about it. Maybe he did.
I don't know if Bitey did. Somebody definitely did, and my goodness, it's definitely a cute pup. But I'm excited to have Mutu back. I'm excited to see Phoenix get back to his role.
Yep.
Creatives has and will continue to do his thing.
And that's been big.
But I want to see it's clearly if you stagnate, you die in this meta. That's what I have learned in the past couple of weeks. So what have Na'Vi been working on? It's been 2 weeks off for them. They have to have cooked up something new to stay ahead of the curve.
Very interesting to see, I think, the way that Lazy also fits so well into this team. And just highlighting him for a second, it's important to always note the role he plays. His love affair with the objective point has been one of the greatest, I think, stories we've been telling over the years, rivaling Moulin Rouge, rivaling, some of the stuff in Les Mis. I think it's really an emotional connection now at this point. It's going to be hard to break.
He changed the way Barrack was played in week number 1. Not in the same way that NIP are utilizing the character and sort of, changed it, but he definitely made so much space for Na'Vi to work with. They were able to run different types of comps, play the map very differently because of the way that Lazy is able to play this character. If he's still, first pick material for Na'Vi, we'll have to see. Did get banned in our last set. I think that's definitely worth noting. Barrack has been more important than ever in these drafts, for sure.
Man, had not really a lot of trouble against the Pittsburgh Knights here in some of the highlights you guys are seeing. It's going to be interesting because Kanga, they are in the need of a win. Natus Vincere, they are in a desperate need of a win too because they, interestingly enough, if you're joining us, took a loss in the first week against Team Envy, and we kind of gave Envy a little bit more credit than maybe was due to them in their current state in the season. But they do have a win over Na'Vi, and so now, even if it gets to a tiebreaker position, Na'Vi breakneck speed, they're the first team that if Envy ever picks up the pace is going to be really threatened by that because they've already lost to them.
Yeah, definitely. They have to make sure that they continue to stay ahead and to develop, right? The meta's been changing so quickly to the point where it's not even really been a meta game. It's like really just been, what does this team do? How can we beat this on this given day or sometimes the week, whatever it is. The flavor of the week last week felt like Pip. With NIP, it's hard to say what exactly was the key to their success, but I am very curious to see what Mutu specifically in this Na'Vi roster have been cooking.
Cool. Well, we've got an interview with Dave talking to Na'Vi before the game, so let's send it down to him and see what the vibe is heading into this set.
Thank you, guys. I am here with Lazy of Natus Vincere. First of all, Lazy, how are you feeling today? We'll get to the team in a minute. How are you?
I'm feeling pretty good. We just watched the VP almost reverse sweep NIP, but it didn't happen, but we're hoping.
And now on to the team. I know you guys have had a bit of a week break here. You've had the chance to watch some other games. How's the team feeling as a whole?
The team is feeling really well, especially when Mutu's back now. We did a lot of adjustments and just getting used to each other again, especially now that we had the time to play together here at LAN.
And kind of looking further into that, how important is it to you guys now that Mutu's back on the lineup? I know that Zarini did a good job filling in, but what does it mean to have Mutu back?
It feels good to have Mutu back, obviously. We can go back to how we used to do the things instead of stressing out with figuring out how we would do the different positions. Now that Mutu is back, he had his break. I don't know if it was a good thing, him having a break. He has some weird stuff ready today. I don't know what's going on anymore.
Any score predictions from you?
Score prediction would be... That's kind of a weird question.
We'll be nice.
4-0.
4-0. Oh, he's saying 4-0. You heard it from the man himself first. Thanks for talking to me. Good luck today. Back to the desk.
A new mixer remote, Lazy Toxic, I think.
Spicy, dude.
4-0. And, I'm not inclined to disagree. I think it's going to be up to Kanga to really add a couple of points on their end of that 4-0. I think it's really going to be up to them.
Yeah, historically speaking, you would definitely guess that Na'Vi would be able to dominate this Kanga squad. I just don't know what it's been looking like for them in training. Lazy's even a little bit confused about what Mutu's been cooking up. He's been climbing the mountain, right? He's studying with the monks, meditating,
exactly.
And now he's ready to just pull out a completely brand new set of champions.
I do not know. That's funny that they're confused as to what Mutu is playing. So that is a funny dynamic you don't always see a glimpse of into these teams where players have their own, kind of aggressive stances on what they want to do. And the team's also like, well, we were kind of thinking you'd play damage character.
No.
Is that you're not? Oh,
no.
Oh, okay.
Not today.
All right. Well,
I mean, what was it? Space Station when I was I was asking about the first pick Barrack, and they were just like, well, Rashao got angry, so that's why we did it. And I was like, oh, okay.
He was like, I want Barrack.
There
he said
it is.
That?
Yeah, and Mutu is a big part of the drafting brain.
You're right.
And decision making for Na'Vi. So there's an element of what he says goes. And he's leading the charge, so not only he can get what he wants, but he's
Moji.
Hopefully define what other people are getting too. That would blow my mind.
That would be shocking. But you know what? I mean, this little duo support, this little sustainy off damage character.
Lex, dude. Let's go.
mean, you know what? Moji Lex into a hot Vivian. Finish it off with a, I don't know. What could be even spicier than that?
I don't know.
An Atlas before he's available?
Yeah.
Just
Break a rule, baby.
Break a rule. He's like, I don't follow rules.
Yeah. Well, we can talk a little bit about Kanga as we got some Evil Eye highlights up here for us. Evil Eye and the boys have definitely sort of they know what they're about right now, and that clearly isn't enough. VP knew what they were about, very good at what they were doing, but in the face of just the sheer versatility, which is clearly something heavily foreshadowed today from Na'Vi, they will need to kind of adjust on the fly and make sure that they are flexible as well.
Chronix, that guy, doing that thing, and that thing is the damage. He definitely has shifted roles so well for this team from support at one point and really finding a home now with Jera shifting into that main support role in the damage role for himself and pairing alongside Evil Eye, really running a lot of that Cassie style pick. But one of the more interesting things is that Chronix, if it went like Virtus Pro, Cassie wasn't played once in the last 6 games that we saw.
Yeah.
So I don't know if she can be expected to be played again with a similar drafting style.
Yeah, she got banned a decent amount. That might be something that changes here. Hopefully that they can get that. She's been incredibly impactful. And again, it's definitely Leon is like, that is Kate's character right now, man. I don't think given the chance he would play anything but that. Maybe a sniper if the map demands for it, but definitely flexibility in the hit scan category isn't really there right now. You have your Leon, a little bit of about as much Victor as you see Tyra, and then a couple guys are playing around with Shaolin, but that's not exactly much of a staple either. I don't know. Hit scan is definitely a bit of a shallow pool in my opinion right now.
It does feel that way. Hit scan needing a little bit more to add to the depth of it. Obviously, there's still so many different choices to be made, and things are being discovered each day. We didn't really expect to see so much of the ferocity Grover. These teams were watching these games. Have they made any on-the-fly adjustments?
Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see, but we do have a word with Kanga down below as well to get their pre-match thoughts. Let's send it down to Dave and see what they have to say.
Thank you very much. We are alongside the head coach of Kanga here today. How are you doing today? How are you guys feeling?
Yeah, really good, really confident. We've had some time to kind of settle into the US, get some good practice in.
And that's kind of what I want to look at first. You guys have had about a 2-week break here since playing the last time. You guys just been hanging out, scrimming, getting better?
Yep, yeah, just been upgrading the team house facilities and training on them, and we had to build the PCs, we added in new processors, things like that. So, yeah, we're kind of settled in now, and the only, random thing is that the EU teams we actually haven't scrimmed at all, so it'll be a good chance to see how we go.
Be an interesting thing to see across the way playing Na'Vi here today. Looking back as well at today, we saw NIP pull out the Ferocity Grover. And Gore made me a little privy to the Kanga history. I know that Ferocity Grover has come out once or twice in your past. How do you feel about that coming into the meta a little bit?
Yeah, it's one of those picks that kind of develop when you don't have many teams to practice against. So the EU teams have been practicing against each other, kind of brought it out, and us being mostly from Australia, we kind of just really like Grover, so we can easily play that if it comes to it.
Is there anything specifically across the way? I know Mutu is now back for the first time this split in the PPL. Is that something you've looked at in preparing?
Yeah, we think they'll draft very similar to NIP, so you can basically take the last set and kind of copy-paste it onto them. We'll see if they make any adjustments and just change things on the fly based on that.
I remember last we talked to you, you guys got a victory grill for winning a game. Any incentives for victory number 2?
Probably the same thing. We'll make it a regular steak night.
Regular steak night for the guys. You heard it here first. Thank you very much. Good luck in your games today. Back to the desk.
Thank you. Well, regular steak night indeed sounds good to me. I'm sure the Kanga boys are excited for that. Really interesting. We don't know what's going to happen in this set.
Is there a better phrase in Australia than steak night?
Steak night.
I don't know,
Maybe
man.
steak knife.
Steak night and a Foster's?
Steak night in a Foster's and a kangaroo and a wallaby
Well, we've already got one of those things here.
and a venomous snake.
That's a lot.
Yep. Well,
That's a wild life.
and a
lot of
crocodile.
wildlife for you. Are you bringing all that?
and a pigeon. That's,
What? What's up?
You guys have the snake and the crocodile. I'll tame the pigeon over here, and we'll all talk about it afterwards. Have fun, boys.
This is maybe the worst trade deal in the history of the U.S. maybe ever.
And that is how you know.
There
Oof,
he is.
There he is, the man, the myth, the legend. Mood 2. And Lazy here, just getting ready to go play anything.
To play
but.
Barrack. All game, all set.
And I'm excited because Na'Vi and Kanga, great teams, still have to learn a lot about them. Hopefully a lot be exposed here. The pip ban early from Kanga. Clearly aware they don't want to see any more EU pips in their face, so they're going to shut that down.
Well, a lot of front lines open because of it. Cassie being banned away as well. Makoa or Khan. What will the choice be, Kanga? Get rid of the Khan, or the Makoa, excuse me, leave Khan open.
Yeah, so this will be interesting. Na'Vi most likely going to take that. It's a very big power pick for Phoenix.
And it's also just such an easy stepping stone to get back into frankly, his first professional game as his old role in the off tank.
Yeah.
Zarini is no longer with the boys, so point tank still being played by Lazy Aggro Tank. Now Phoenix's job, and Mutu back in the saddle with whatever the hell it is he is going to be playing today.
So the interesting battle
Form
here
up and
between
follow me in.
Rhino and
In
Phoenix
this
for
game,
that
you win or
Ashcon
you die.
off-tank role.
There is
That's going
no
to be
middle ground.
something to keep your eye on. The Leon goes early for Chronix. We do see another Cassie ban. I believe she has a 100% ban rate today. So I don't know if anyone's going to get a chance to play her, and they're
What
just going to
happened?
contest over this Leon.
What happened, Cassie? Where did it all go so wrong?
What did you say?
Where did you overstep your boundaries?
Exactly.
You just pissed these players off, and now you'll never
Competitive rulings. Cassie has been banned for
all the time.
That would be funny.
Too many sprays.
Yeah, that is possible. And we know a lot of players contribute to that. Navi here, taking some time with their second couple of picks. Really looking at it. The Inara comes through. Not early, so to speak. Both teams have their aggressive off-tank. And here's the Vivian. So this is that Mutu special, you think, coming in.
Is this a misread? And because this isn't even that special to me, to be honest. I mean, they played a ton of this at Worlds, and Kanga, or Hades just basically said, we expect them to draft like NIP, basically copy and paste last set into this set, and we'll respond appropriately. Well, that's not what's happening here.
Step into the light.
Fortunately, it's something that has happened before. They've been doing their homework. I don't know how far back they have notes from in class, but Navi did run a ton of Vivian in the World Championship.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of got to go out of this meta to see it, but it's not that it's out of their wheelhouse. And I mean, almost nothing is, especially with the hit scan and the blaster coverage. Really, the only thing where it gets weird is that the blaster player, mainly in creatives, doesn't really play the Drogos, which really goes more towards Mutu, but creatives will play the BK and the Eevee. But they could bring out the Maeve as well. I mean, that was something that was kind of big last week and has not been here at all this week.
Yeah, poked its head out for sure. That's where I jumped as well. I was like, well, what's weird that Mutu does? I think Maeve is definitely in that conversation. They do get themselves the Grover, but this looks to be the main heal Grover. This isn't, I don't think, likely to be that Ferocity style that we saw Tenor running earlier, and then rounding out with the Xin.
Well, I think this is now for Evil Eye, so he's going to grab the Eevee.
You about to get
And so this is very, very interesting. Eevee's going to be under a lot of pressure. There's a lot of damage, and the cripple, we've seen Grover really shut down the efficacy of Eevee quite a bit. She does have a 50% win rate, though, so still really odd seem to be for the player.
Yeah, she's all performance, man. And a lot of like matchup thing that like I'm like, oh, Eevee just hard counters. It's like if you start to screw up, any matchup's going to look bad for you. But if you're popping off, I mean, it feels like you can almost do anything with that character.
Well, excited to see this go through, guys. It is Kanga and Na'Vi. Let's send it down to Dave and Gore and get ready to get into this set.
Thank you, guys. We have flipped spots. Gore and I now in the caster booth for game number 2 here, Gore. And I think this is a pretty big statement game, I think, on both sides. I think Kanga have a really good shot here to prove that, you know, they belong firmly in the conversation of some of the better teams. And then Na'Vi, now with Mutu on their side, looking to do the same. Gotta love the shoe to the ear. What are you looking at here in game number 1, Gore?
Honestly, my eyes are really just on how Na'Vi feel. I mean, this is the team that they've been comfortable with for a long time. But admittedly, when you go a couple of weeks with Zarini, right, you're here, you're practicing on LAN, you haven't gotten as much LAN experience right now with Mutu, at least not in the last couple of weeks. They were here a couple of days before. They're scrimming in IP a whole ton. And they get him on something he's going to be comfortable on. They grab the Vivian for creatives, which kind of catches my eye as something that's out there. But I think they get a draft that they're happy with, they're comfortable with, and now I just kind of want to see them prove that they do still belong at the top.
And I think kind of an interesting thing to look at as well as some early damage starts to get traded back and forth. I mean, Zarini came in and, you know, they had to flip around their positioning a little bit. You know, you had Phoenix playing the different role than what he's used to. A couple guys shifting around roles, and they still did really well. Now that the team is just kind of back to what they're used to, this is where it potentially gets interesting for them, depending on their showing here today. Could see a different side to Na'Vi, even better than what we've seen in the past.
True. And honestly, Kanga, and I said this earlier, but they're kind of my wild card right now. I don't know if I can expect them to win this set. And I honestly don't know if losing this set really means anything for them either, right? It's one of those things that if you lose it, it's kind of like, well, I mean, you were up against Na'Vi.
Right.
And if you win it, it's like, man, you just beat Na'Vi.
beat
No
Na'Vi,
matter
right.
what, you kind of come out of this, I want to say, as a win-win. Like, it's the best case scenario you can have for a loss where no matter what, it's still going to be a huge boost for you. Unfortunately for them, they don't seem to have that boost in terms of their team fight right now.
Not just yet. While we're talking, 99% already on the point here for Na'Vi. Overtime starting to tick away. Some kills coming out for Kanga, but just not enough. Evil Eye on the Eevee found some presence, found some damage, but not really able to find the impact maybe that he was looking for. The Vivian, though, the Barrack damage leading the game at the moment. Vivian, Creatives on the Vivian. Finding some kills, couple double kills in that fight as well as the payload starts to get pushed. Just starting off, 2 minutes left. The early aggression up here on the left-hand side, as well as the Ice Storm coming out, is going to spell a kill here for Evil Eye. Mutu is going to be able to answer with one back. The dance begins now between Vivian and this Eevee into the ice block. Goes the Eevee, but Evil Eye ends up dropping. Creatives finds two for himself, picking up right where the point fight left off. Gore, Natus Vincere on the front foot.
I mean, just being able to find this. Again, the continued kills, the continued aggression, and the continued just lockdown overall of Kanga. This Eevee's not really able to get too much out of there. And Creatives, 5-0-4 on this Vivian.
Yep.
The one thing, that, and I'm going to say this, I don't know if Na'Vi have been doing this, but I mean, Vivian, I saw a lot in the console league. Then it kind of transferred to Bork in the minor league.
Yeah, right.
And then it started to get it picked up a little bit more and more, and it's like slowly been on the rise. And I feel like teams are starting to, again, look at every champion as a viable, playable champion in competitive nature.
No, I agree. We saw that this morning, and it's an exciting time to be watching Paladins Esports. Plenty of champions making their way in. Evil Eye's going low, but in the meantime, the payload goes through. There just wasn't really any contest pressure coming out from Kanga. The Barrack fell as well as Os Rhino on the Ash. There wasn't really much contest to be coming through, but yeah, look at Creatives, 5-1-6. He does end up dying at the end of the round, but 26,000 damage is good for first.
I think he'll sacrifice a death for the 2-0. Honestly,
no,
I think he's okay with it. The way things are going, and again, this is just something that I think that Na'Vi does, that we've not at this point started, we've seen other teams do, and that is their ability to pull out control over the objective, whether or not they're getting the kills. I mean, if you roll back a couple weeks and look at them versus Renegades, they aren't getting the kills. They aren't really technically winning the fights, but they control the objective, and that's something that NIP has picked up. We see Virtus Pro, unfortunately they didn't do it in their last set, but in the past they've had that kind of control. Like, that right now is really where teams are shining. How well can you play the objective? And on the side, if you get these kills, you could just control it a lot more.
Right. That's how it really went in fight number one. They won the side fights, but also we're still in there. We're just standing there on the point. More of the same here. Lazy on the Inara is going to pull out the Seismic Crash. It is good for one stun, and Mutu following up with a double. Welcome back to the PPL in a big way. The Zen starting to light things up here, doing a lot of the damage. Lazy cleaning that one up. 96% will become 100. Natus Vincere, 3-0.
I mean, you know how it is with Mutu, especially considering that I think everyone at this point is convinced he is truly a robot. You just kind of got to move him around and then plug him in. Once he's in, he's good. He's obviously running at the same capacity they left him on, so everything's still looking really good here for Na'Vi as they bring back their mainstay DPS. Of course, I want to mention the other side of that, Phoenix, who has been very comfortable on this con this entire game. A lot of DPS-heavy pressure in terms of his hit scan damage, but just being able to be in the front line again, I'm sure, is feeling comfortable for him.
And I think if you look at the opposite side, they need Chronix, the man with the shoe, on this long-range Leon to find some damage. Unfortunately, at the moment, it's going to be a clean team wipe. 5-minute 45-second game, very close to coming to a close here, and this is scary if you're looking as opponents, not even just this one game, but looking at Natus Vincere. They're firing on all cylinders right now, Gore.
I mean, honestly, I'm scared, not if I'm Na'Vi, not even if I'm Kanga here. I'm scared if I'm some of these other teams. I mean, let's look towards Envy. Envy not having the hottest couple of weeks these last turn 2 of competition for them. And this is Na'Vi when they're in full force. This is Na'Vi even though they lost a World Championship. This is Na'Vi in the way they are feeling right now, which is just all control all the time. It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. It's looking to pay off in a big way for him. Some ultimates starting to come out. A couple blue and red in the kill column, but the overwhelming color is blue here. Evil Eye is going to try to get a touch on it. He's going to put out some damage, but once he falls, this one's going to go through. Just now, Os Rhino on the Ash. He's going to drop, and Natus Vincere are looking to find themselves up here 1-0 early on in this set.
I mean, just being able to find, say, one, maybe two more kills, a couple
I mean, they're
of ults
contesting. I was ready to close it. There it is.
Yeah, they
there
have the body advantage, but you can only, I want to say, beat that timer so many times in a row, right? Like, you can only have your respawns work in your advantage so often. And unfortunately, I mean, I see, Hades walking back as he goes to kind of coach the guys. I don't even know what to break down on that one. That was just plain old Na'Vi playing Na'Vi.
Yeah, that was just a fast game one. Na'Vi firing on all cylinders. Game one already in the books. Let's send it back to the desk to break that one down.
Well, what's a breakdown indeed? Very, very dangerous team. And it does feel like there is a bit of the energy flowing towards Na'Vi here in a heavy way because of them having everybody back together. And it's Mutu, but it's only Mutu because he completes the chain, and they're back, and this is what a start.
And worth noting, I think, Mutu is always the Vivian during Worlds, so that has flip-flopped a little bit. It's not outlandish whatsoever for Mutu to be playing Xin, but I just find it kind of an interesting little note here for sure.
Definitely.
And Booby Trap Vivian as well.
Did you just say?
Not the opportunity in chaos that we've been seeing. Almost exclusively run when it's played on console, so the boys here from Na'Vi switching it up a little bit, making things fun here on Bright Marsh, and a very, very quick one. Couldn't even finish my cupcake.
I'm surprised.
This game was over, bro.
I'm surprised you noticed that it was Booby Trap while eating your cupcake.
Well, if there's one thing I know, it's booby traps and cupcakes.
Is that your new mixtape?
Oh my God,
Booby
another
traps
one.
and cupcakes.
Somebody call DJ Khaled because we got another one coming.
You see him in the green screen shot of him doing his new album. Oh man, that's pretty funny. Mutu here, smiling. He's got a little, he's got some facial hair. He's got the long hair.
He's grizzled, man.
Grizzled.
World-weary Mutu.
He's gone through life, dog.
Traveling back and forth to the U.S. will do that to you.
Yeah, it is not an easy flight, that's for sure. But this time he's here for a while, you would assume, and that's what Na'Vi want. Kanga trying to figure this out. Very resilient as far as their ability to adapt, but how fast can they do it? I mean, Phoenix
That's
back
the
on his
question.
role. You got to put respect on his name as well. He's been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
And now back in his comfort zone.
I don't know. Kanga doesn't look overly frustrated, and sometimes that's because the loss was that bad. It's like almost like, well, we literally had no moments of maybe this was winnable. Not a fight, not a payload, not a point, not a nothing in game number one for the boys of Kanga. Na'Vi looking off to the races here, certainly. I was asking a couple of them if they thought they would maybe miss a step. Not only did they say no with confidence, but everybody else said no as well. Like, Mutu is not going to slow this team down. Doesn't matter that they haven't been technically playing with him for the past couple of weeks. He is an unequivocal improvement to this roster.
Well, Borders Gate here will be map number 2. Always fun to watch. Natus Vincere seem to have a good grasp of this, and we've seen new maps over the course of today, which is great. We didn't see Bright Marsh last set, didn't see Borders Gate as well, so it's been all of the maps in Paladins for your display and viewing pleasure here in the first day of this week of the PPL. And it's going to be the exact same bans, except this time the Khan will be banned, giving the Ash to the Kanga.
Jordy just looks utterly confused by it. He is not prepared for that.
It was his team that banned it.
Oh, man. Already descent in the ranks after the first pick.
What are we doing? Yeah.
Wait,
that would be interesting. Evil Eye did not have the impact he wanted, and honestly, his best champion, in my opinion, really is the Bomb King when he brings it out. And that Drogoz, I think he's hit or miss on the EV more so than those other champions. So we'll be curious to see what he drafts, but it's also the first Cassie that is going to be seen today.
Yeah, and on the topic of the matchups on Bright Marsh for Eevee, I will contradict myself a little bit in that I don't really love Xin or Vivian. I think both of those characters are pretty hard for Eevee to kill. Vivian just because the deflector shield, man, and that high DPS, like you literally cannot stand still for more than a second or you're going to die as Eevee. Xin has too many defensive cooldowns, so definitely a tough one playing into it. In game number 1. Pretty good draft here from Kanga so far. But this Cassie, first time we're seeing it today, and
Keep talking.
a lot of value placed on it, banned out all the time. Let's see if
Ruckus.
it can put its money where its mouth is.
Great champion in this map, too. I like Ruckus a lot here just for the actual DPS battle that he's going to be going up against with the Ashe. He really does win in a just straight 1v1 because he has that emitter and he can break her shield so quickly. And once that shield is down, he's just miniguns all day.
The next time you
It's
see
almost
my
hard for any
banners,
champion to beat
run.
that. But the Eevee and the Leon, it's going to give them mobility, flexibility, and some decent cleave pressure, which is important on a map like this.
Yeah, I like Leon for the ability to have her ultimate and flip one of these 1v1s. Cassie, the 1v1 with Cassie, going to be pretty tough. Ruckus, almost impossible. The pressure from Zen and Ruckus together, Evan, if Cassie floats and gets aggressive as well, this changes my mind a little bit. It's going to be very difficult for Leon to survive.
Yeah, I think the Zen, on a normal lineup, sure, but because we know who's playing all of these characters on the side of Na'Vi, I'm definitely leaning towards them in this matchup yet again. Baldur's Gate, though, it's going to be a map that gives us some surprises. Teams still learning it, especially in the PPL. There's been limited moments to really guarantee that you know what you're doing. Still an opportunity for Kanga to sneak this one back. Nick, you feeling confident that they can do it?
No, not this one. I think I like Navi's draft a lot more here. I don't think it's nearly as hard to execute either, which is a big factor for Navi.
Yeah, this looks pretty devastating here indeed. Natus Vincere trying to go 2-0 up over Kanga, and it looks very plausible. Kanga doing their best to stop it here on Baldur's Gate as we send it down to your casters, Dave and Gore, to get ready for Game 2.
Thank you, Evan. The Fighting Ruse looking to take game number 2. Ooh, that's pretty good, Gore. I was proud of myself for that
You
one.
know what?
That's a good
Pat on the back. Pats on the back all around. Everybody, we're good here.
I hope
Close
you
it
heard that
up.
in the mic. I patted myself on the back. Do you agree with Nick in that the Kanga lineup a little tougher to really play well on?
I think it's going to be tougher to execute, for sure.
That's
I
the
think
word I was
that
looking
it's
for.
going to be in that area. I think Evil Eye and Chronix, especially with Jera on the Genos behind them, have a lot of damage capabilities. It's just whether or not they can really withstand the brunt of the damage that's going to come from the Zen, which are easier shots to hit, the Ruckus, which are easier shots to hit, and then, of course, Creative's now playing the Cassie, which is going to show us why she was banned a ton in the last set.
You got to be careful. You got to watch out for it. Ruckus as well. I mean, he was essentially off the board. I don't think he got played once. I think he was not banned once, but didn't end up getting picked that game. But coming in here on the side of Phoenix, he is going to drop, though. Joel's is going to be the first one to find a kill in this one. Evil Eye now feeling like he can get aggressive, make it a double now for the Barrack. And Kanga off to a very good start here, 42% with 2 kills in their back pocket.
I mean, just dance around the point. This is exactly what Na'Vi have been doing. This is something that I think, again, every team has needed to learn, specifically Barrack and point control. And that is one of the things that a lot of these teams have kind of made you rethink how both of those work. Na'Vi has been one of them, and I think Barrack, specifically when Lazy is running it, has looked entirely different than what we've seen in the past. But right now, Joel's is doing his best impression, and it's looking really good.
It's looking great, as a matter of fact. Kanga are firmly on the front foot, 99% here. Natus Vincere now finally get onto the point, but they're a member down at the moment once the spawns comes out. Joel's going toe-to-toe with Creatives and actually picks up that kill. The Barrack continues his tear through the early part of this game. Now it's Kanga with a man advantage. Make it 2 after Spunky dies as well. Mutu's trying to get aggressive now onto the healer, but Chronix comes around the corner, cleans that one up, make it a double for him. And a clean team fight here, make it a triple. Chronix starting off map number 2 in a big way, and I think Kanga were deathless, and they are. Throughout the entire start of this game, they look great, Gore.
To go from a 6-minute 4-0 to a deathless point fight is one of the most ridiculous switches and changes of pace that I've seen a team make, especially against someone like Na'Vi. But that's, again, kind of showcasing, I want to say, Baldur's Gate strengths, weaknesses that might be coming through for either of these teams. And as of right now, it almost feels as though Na'Vi understand very basics of where they want to go and where they want to fight. But, I mean, they can't lock down Evil Eye anywhere near the way they were on Brightmarsh.
They finally find a couple of kills. It's going to be Jera and Chronix falling, but at the cost of the rest of their team. The Ice Storm came out as well as the Assert Dominance. You still have Through Time and Space. You still have Dome Shield. You're going against a lot of ultimates, though, on the side of Na'Vi. And look at those damage charts. Top 4 are blue. Creatives and Mutu not finding the impact probably that they're looking for. The Spite's going to come out just to find a little bit of a positional advantage. This payload's close to going through, Gore.
I mean, just dancing around. Also, I know going to be able to get a flank. Phoenix is dead to rights unless he can play some really nice movement. He's jumping around. That's actually going to be big,
nice.
thanks to the support coming through. Creative's going to get some shots in there, but I want to give shout-outs to Spunky, keeping Phoenix alive in that engagement. And also, I know biting off way more than he can chew.
He had 1 health bar left on the side of Phoenix. Keeps himself alive. The emitter came up just to really icing the cake there in that engagement. Answer back with a kill. Chronic starting things off again here with another one on a Mutu. And now this is where you have to look at relaying these kills into an entire team fight. If you drop Phoenix here on the back end of dropping Mutu, this could start to steamroll in the opposite direction if you're on the side of Na'Vi. The ultimate's now ready for both sides, 4 apiece. Some good CCing ultimates as well. Evil Eye looking to get aggressive. He could use the Ice Storm here to get this one pushed through, but Mutu finds the first here on a Chronix.
And I love the way that Evil Eye's playing this. Unfortunately, he's kind of locked off on the side. That's going to be Chronix, Alcerino, now Evil Eye. And unfortunately, it looks like Jera right afterward, all going to go down, although he's being a little slippery. Creative's going to be able to take the peek to find him. And that dance, the delicate dance that Kanga's been doing, I think honestly hinges a little bit on the distraction that Evil Eye is bringing. And I feel like the minute he is locked down, the minute he's under control, it doesn't necessarily slip away, but it becomes a much more difficult fight for Kanga.
No, I agree. And you look at the kill feed here now. You had 0 deaths across the board for the guys on Kanga, each of them falling a couple times after that. But that payload was close to going through. I mean, that was very nearly a clean 2-0 here from Kanga. Chronix, the man on the Leon. This is the triple kill for him, not missing any shots. Beautiful play there from him. They'll look to lean on him a little bit more as well to try to get these pushed through. Phoenix now streaking out after a killless first point fight. You see some wreckers starting to come up on either side as well, starting to deal with some of those shields. Healing in the favor of red at the moment. What do you look for, Gore, on the side of Na'Vi here to potentially tilt this point fight in your favor? You stall him out, but what do you do on the point fight?
I think Phoenix and Mutu just have to have more of an impact. I didn't see too many kills and too much control, really, from either of them. I feel like Phoenix was getting targeted out and kind of isolated a lot. I feel like this is an interesting take to it, but unfortunately, Mutu almost immediately caught out underneath.
Not too much value from the Hexafire either. Joel's is going to open up this fight, same as last round, but it's going to be a 1-for-1 to start things off here. Look out for Evil Eye as well, though. He's going to be trying to find these angles. Natus Vincere are the ones who are going to be on the point initially. 42% here for them. Now everyone's back. Both teams are at full strength here. Ultimates are starting to get popped. You still have 2. You have the Enlightenment and the Assert Dominance on the side of Kanga, if that's what you choose to do to try to stabilize this point fight. At the moment, though, Natus Vincere are the ones who find 2 kills. Joel's just doing a little dance down below here. Creative's the driving force of this fight. Down comes the Assert Dominance as well. There's a couple stuns on the back end. Creatives is going to be the one to fall. Rhino's the one leading this charge here, though. He gets cleaned up. This could be tough for a retake.
I mean, being able to hold on as long as they can. No comeback mechanic, no fast cap. This is all just pure aggression from Natus Vincere. And as long as they can keep this kind of pressure up, they're going to be good. But that Enlightenment getting a lot of health bars. Uncomfortable, I think, is the best way to word it. And Spunky going down, I'd say this is normally, you could say maybe a 4v5, but I'm going to count that as honestly a 3v5 because you lose your support and it's big.
Yeah, and when you have Creatives not missing. Finding himself 2, Ruckus as well. Phoenix on a couple. That's 3, unstoppable now for Phoenix. He started 0 I think 2, and has since been on a 12 streak. So making his presence felt.
The most impressive thing for me in all of that is the fact that Na'Vi lose their support first. And then they still hold through like it's nothing. And that's not something that's easy to do, especially when Kanga's been playing the way Kanga was playing. Like, no matter what, and no matter which team it is, if you lose your support and Kanga was keeping up like the amount of play, the level of play that they had in round 1, then you're not going to survive this fight. That was just control, really calculated standings from Na'Vi to make sure that they were able to stay on the point and get just the right amount of kills, which I guess was all of them, thanks to Creatives and Phoenix.
They like to play it close. They definitely like to play it close to the chest. Joel's, though, hats off to him. He's been playing out of his mind on this barrack so far. He was the big factor in point fight number 1. And he does more of the same here in point fight number 2, finding a couple kills, finding the damage. He was second on the damage charts, so really carrying his weight. Still number 2. Evil Eye up there. I mean, you got the damage on your side. It's just playing these fights properly. That'll switch out when you're on defense, though. That'll change a lot depending on which team is defending, able to plug away some free damage. Mutu's going low, though. About a minute left, about half of the way to go here. Creatives is going to find the first kill in this fight. Rhino's going to get caught out. He's going to try to shoulder bash. That's a nice body block there from Lazy as well. A double for Creatives and a Mutu kill are going to spell a huge, huge pressure switch. Natus Vincere on the front foot and could push this through.
I mean, 48 seconds left, but they're going to have plenty of time to keep this under control, especially since everybody on Kanga locked into their base. It seems like now, maybe with Joel's respawning, they can get somebody down there to at least contest it, but you're going to have to be able to do it fast. Evie going to be able to touch down, but Evil Eye out-ties almost immediately.
He gets bursted. Evil Eye drops, but he is able to find some damage on the Phoenix, which is going to be good for a kill. Creatives, though, you have to clean him up. They do here and there, but he's the one. You let him live too long, he's going to drop these fights. 20 seconds left. Joel's drops Lazy. They're on the back foot at the moment. They have everything but the Ice Storm at their disposal, everything but the Spite up for Natus Vincere as well. We've seen some games today where NIP just got really aggressive. They maybe bit off more than they can chew, threw out too many ultimates towards the end, and ended up costing them there on the Timber Mill game. So Natus Vincere hoping to avoid that, maybe getting this push through without the need of a lot of their ultimates. A kill onto Evil Eye would certainly help with that. Now the ultimates are starting to get popped. No kills just yet. Seismic Crash finds a couple.
And being able to at least get the stun, try to hold out as long as you can. Na'Vi want this just to try and go up 3-1. This is going to be dangerous now that they've committed at least one ult. That's pretty big overall to trying to push forward. They get a kill on House Rhino. They're about to lose Lazy, though, so it's going back and forth very heavily. But a beautiful spike. Gets rid of Chronix, but not fully.
Ooh, the Enlightenment comes out and finds some damage, but Mutu's able to turn around and clean up the kill, and he's on the point right now. Jera drops Phoenix, though. Joel's cleans up Spunky as well. Lazy continuing his tear on this Inara. Os Rhino comes back into the fight and finds himself one. Overtime ticking away here, and Kanga able to revert the presence of the Natus Vincere lineup just long enough and tie it up 2-2.
I'm going to say, I think at the end of the day, worthwhile for Na'Vi. I think there's a multitude of reasons for it, but the only ult that they guaranteed won't have soon in this fight is going to be Spike. It's going to take longer to charge up. Our Inara ended that round at about 50%, so Lazy's not going to be able to start with a Seismic Crash, but he can definitely, especially since it's even, use that for a second point fight that will absolutely be happening depending on who wins, or no matter who wins this first point fight. But you keep a Dread Serpent, you keep a Hexafire, and you get rid of a Dome Shield and the Enlightenment. So you know you can lock Chronix down and you know you can lock Joel's down, which means it's just a little easy at the end of the day for Na'Vi to keep control.
No, and I think that's a fair way of looking at it. The Scout's going to come out, spot out the members of Kanga, see where they're at, see what they have going on their side. Pretty standard start for both teams. Natus Vincere, Creative's going to take his role up top here. Getting chunked out, though, is the Naldon, but you got to be careful. The Ice Storm as well is going to come out onto Creatives. He's low. Is he able to clean up the kill? He's not able to just yet. In the meantime, Jera, Spunky, Chronix, and Creatives are all finally dropped. The kills are starting to roll out like a waterfall, checkerboarded, red and blue up on either side. It's whoever is able to outlast most of this damage. It's a war of attrition at the moment. And Kanga and Natus Vincere essentially both stabilized. Neither one of them out to a huge lead onto the point, but Phoenix with the double is going to help tilt this in his favor, but he's going to drop at the hands of Evil Eye as well, Gore. It looks like Kanga have stabilized this fight.
If you are playing against Evil Eye in this match, at this point, you're dizzy from just having to spin around so many times. Like, he is just all over the place in terms of, I mean, just everywhere. His movement, it's locked in. He's got the rhythm down. He knows exactly where, admittedly, you're not going to be looking, so he can blink there, cause you a lot of trouble, and come back in. A beautiful Void Grip. Zen going to be able to come through. Overtime clipped up, but I don't know if it's going to be enough.
This is it. This is the big fight. The Seismic Crash locks down one, but Phoenix is the first to fall, as well as Os Rhino on the other side. That's the healer now down on the side of Kanga. Evil Eye trying to reverse some of the damage that's coming onto his team. The Ice Block is going to be good, and he finds one as well, and now you have Spunky, who's super low on the opposite side, so Evil Eye and Joel's actually stabilize the fight and flip it back in their favor. Now it's just Inara and Ruckus on the point, but can they clean it up? Mutu is back as well, but Lazy falls. Evil Eye falls as well. Now overtime's ticking away, but Natus Vincere are so close. They could get on the point and they could tilt the fight in their favor. Oh, but they don't. They don't get the touch. And Kanga with a big fight win. I don't even know if I would call it a fight win. They were just bouncing back and forth. It's a win in the sense that they happened to be closer to the point at the time the fight came to a close. Oh, wow, but that was toe-to-toe, Gore.
And it came down to last-minute communication from Na'Vi. Mutu backs away with the idea of Phoenix is going to jump on there. Unfortunately, and this is something that's just going to happen as time goes on, especially when you're dancing in overtime, you don't know how long you truly have to get back on that point when that overtime starts. So you have to be ready to pop on immediately. And unfortunately, Phoenix was a little bit too late. Right now, though, it's still actually going back and forth. I was going to say they look pretty decent in terms of their control, but I mean, it's still Kanga pushing them and pushing the right buttons, right? They're upsetting Na'Vi in the right ways.
I agree. Not able to find like an overwhelming upper hand, but just able to make them uncomfortable. Just able to push those buttons, as you said. Mutu's going low. He is going to drop at the hands of Evil Eye. So is there anything that you can see? So it's been a minute since we saw Kanga on the offensive push.
Yes.
Is there anything that you saw that failed for them last time that maybe you'd like to see to help this push go through?
Honestly, looking towards where Evil Eye is, and this is something that I think is more map-based than him-based, honestly. I think it just gets a little more difficult to cover all your avenues when you start pushing this forward to facilitate this payload going forward. To try and lock down a Zen and a Ruckus and a Cassie all on your own is not going to work out well. I mean, even here, just trying to bounce around part of the push is not going to work out that well for you. So I think Chronix and him have to make the right shift.
Right.
Where Evil Eye is definitely heavy-handed on the point, but he has to fall back right here. Chronix has to be the one getting a triple kill right now, essentially, to make sure this thing can continue rolling.
Well, they found two, but unfortunately trades out his life for it. A 43 health Mutu. He's going to try to get himself out alive. It's not going to work out. Evil Eye is going to get a bit. Like you said, you only have 20 seconds left. Kanga potentially with just a better point fighting composition than they have a payload pushing composition in this case. Phoenix Creatives combining for a couple, likely to spell the end of this push here. Natus Vincere going into the next point fight are going to have 5 ultimates ready. 5 ultimates up on the side of Kanga as well. So on a pure ultimate for ultimate basis score, both teams fully ult available. Do you like one lineup going into the other? I mean, Kanga's shown great effort in these point fights. They've taken 2 out of 3. So do you think they just have a better lineup for point fighting?
I think, especially with ults involved, it's almost initially going to be determined based on, does Jera get a couple kills with this ult? Or does he hold on to it to maybe try and get a couple kills a little bit later in the fight versus Hexafire? I think those are like the two big ones that can make the biggest change, right? If Jera hits and kills 2 people, that's going to completely sweep this over in favor of Kanga, not completely as a control for, yes, you win the game, but you control the point. Now can you hold it? The same thing can be said for Na'Vi. If they can use this Hexafire right, I think Kanga have a better draft at the end of the day when the ults are used, so you just have to be able to hold on to the point as long as you can.
Well, unfortunately, it's not going to work out when your Genos falls almost immediately into the point fight. Joel's as well falling. Chronix getting so aggressive here onto Mutu, but the point is going up in favor of Natus Vincere. They use their ultimate. Down comes the Assert Dominance as well, just keeping himself alive is Rhino at the moment, but unfortunately the kills are all coming up red right now, and Kanga are pretty much pushed back into their base.
And the biggest note is just how deep Rhino had to use that ult in order to be able to stay alive and find some pressure with it, and it still doesn't end up paying off. He gets locked into the same area.
Wow.
This was Na'Vi coming into the point fight, knowing what Kanga had, and locking them at a wall so they couldn't even approach.
You have to hand it to Kanga, though. Taking this Na'Vi lineup to 7 points here on Warder's Gate is no small task. They looked, well, I think anything would have looked much better than game number 1. So going down 4-3, I think they'll take the little victories on that one. Kanga definitely looking better in my eyes, game number 2.
I mean, just being able to come in and have that kind of performance around the point is a huge boost, but they need more, right? You need to be able to start converting some of these pushes. And admittedly, when it comes to the 3-3, you have to have the same performance you had at 0-0. You can't let it lapse by them.
No, I agree. Na'Vi, though, they're the ones with the win. 2-0 up in this set. To set up game number 3, though, let's send it back to the desk.
Thanks, guys. You know, what a great game that really showed the possibilities of how contested this set could be between Kanga and Natus Vincere. It just goes the way of Na'Vi at the very end.
Yeah, they needed to show up there for sure. I'm concerned that, You know, if that was their best map, that was their best foot forward, and they still couldn't pull it out, normally the best sets do end or start in the 1-1 split when everyone kind of gets their map pick. You can take it.
Right.
But Na'Vi just absolutely curb stomped what I assume to be their map pick, and then Kanga barely letting this one go. Definitely a much better showing. Obviously, anything was could have been an improvement upon what we saw in game number 1 for them. But I just do worry about them going onward into this set. If Na'Vi are starting to get pushed, if they start to really pull out like more flexible picks and things like that, hopefully Kanga can continue to adjust on the fly.
And, you know, at the end, that last round did go convincingly in the way of Na'Vi. And, you know, how much of it was the fact that Kanga got off to a good start early? You know, is it just flexing into the ruckus? You know, Phoenix had to find his rhythm. Obviously, Creatives does a great job there on the Cassie. First time we've seen it today, and it did perform. About a 1.6 KDA there, so relatively positive. Jera still trying to figure things out. And if you look at game 1 to game 2, marked improvement for Kanga. So that's got to give them at least a little bit of confidence.
Absolutely. And maybe it's due to the relatively still unknown nature of Warder's Gate, one of the newer maps.
It was chaotic
in the game. A lot of people dying, a lot of brutal skirmishes there. That one overtime, I think it was in the second round, just dragged on and on and on. What felt like 3 waves of respawns of players. So nobody having the clear-cut black and white answer for how to win this game right here, right now. It was definitely a much more high contest there on Warder's Gate. We'll have to see where the rest of the set goes. 30 seconds on the timer until we hop into these maps. Now V looking like they have the potential to be slowed down today, but you know, still grabbing that win does keep the momentum on their side.
And you do expect that now, getting themselves back in the position where they're a full unit again. You do expect that this is probably the best game that could have happened. You know, playing NIP today might have been a real challenge for them, especially with NIP still firing on all cylinders. So Kanga definitely bringing some heat, but maybe not as spicy as it could be getting as far as some of the other teams in the league. We're going to send it to Game 3, though, and that's going to be Frog Isle. So plenty of dangerous threats here. A snowballing map for sure. I do not expect it to last as long as we saw Warder's Gate last.
And I think to your point, you look at what NIP was saying about how a lot of it was mentality, and going into this, in the interview, you know, Hayes was talking about how they'll be ready to adjust on the fly rather than lead the charge, be like setting the pace. This is how we're going to play this game. And I feel like playing what you practice and like having an idea and being the team that sets the pace and say, this is how this game is going to go down. Everybody else just listen up. That has seemed to me to always work better than just trying to respond and react and adjust to everything that the other team is doing.
Well, they've banned the Makoa and the Khan. Pretty consistent, although Khan was let through once for the Ashe. Khan was also banned and replaced by the Cassie as far as being opened. He's going to be banned again this time. Kanga now, are they banning the Cassie? Because you can assume one team is going to ban the Torvald. And that would have to be Na'Vi if Cassie is banned, because that would then open Torvald up for Kanga if they did want to go into those territories. We saw it last week. Willingness to play against the Torvald still working in the favor of those teams. And it's going to be a Zen. So they're going to say, you want to let off the Torvald? Nope. That's what we thought. We're going to take the Cassie for ourselves if we want it. But it still could be an Ashe. It really still could be.
Yeah, it pushes Na'Vi into an interesting spot for sure. They are going to grab the Ashe. So now Mutu likely has to play something different, but with both snipers open, I'm wondering if this is the best call for them, or if that AV is just going to be picked up. Both Creatives and Mutu have played it. They flip-flopped a little bit today on who's playing what. Like when we mentioned, Creatives playing Vivian, Mutu playing Xin. So Na'Vi definitely have a couple of ways that they could go with this draft, and I think just question marks is the theme of Na'Vi today. What are they going to look like? What are they going to go for? What is Mutu going to play?
And I think this is the correct choice. Na'Vi go both front lines. They get their choice in point tanks, and they're basically two. Inara and Barrack are both the 2 point tanks you would probably try to pair with the Ashe. And they're going to have to go Fernando if they want something like that, or they'll have to take another aggressive tank, which puts them in a pretty exposed position if they do want to contest late game and really just try to have those stalwart fights. I'm thinking that these next 2 picks for Na'Vi, though, you slot in a DPS, you slot in whatever support Spunky's kind of comfortable with, and then you kind of flex your DPS at the very end.
Not a clear way to go. And EV is going to be the early selection
Go
here,
ahead. Keep
which can
talking
hopefully
while you
deter
can.
a little bit the snipers that may be coming. We'll have to see if Na'Vi go for a Ferocity Grover. That's still on the board if somebody wants to follow NIP's lead. Remember, Zin is going to be banned away, so something else for Mutu's got to be the case this time. Does he go back onto something hit scan, traditional like the Leon or the Cassie, both of which are still open?
I think we could see a Strix here, and I think we could see a Bomb King.
We're gonna.
I wouldn't be surprised to see the Bomb King now, but it's going to be the Cassie.
Are you kidding?
And so this will give flexibility to both players. They can both play the Cassie, and it still does delay whether Na'Vi feels strongly enough about the sniper after seeing all of Kanga's draft. At this point, Kanga have 2 aggressive tanks, both of which can instantly be pushing into the back line, so we may not see a sniper come out.
Feels like you definitely don't love to pick a sniper into that if you can help it.
Yeah.
Bomb King is... I definitely wouldn't mind Bomb King whatsoever. I think you already have Cassie, which is good enough at dealing with both of these frontliners. I think the matchup is perfectly fine if you run big game into Ruckus and Cassie, or Ruckus and Ash, excuse me. And then you pick up the Bomb King, you're able to 2-tap an Eevee, and you're just healthy enough and self-sustaining enough to where it's difficult for an Eevee to push you down because she's got to hit you 3, if not 4 times.
And I think that Na'Vi, we're kind of going to wait and see if Kanga went first, and now they have to answer with a Strix, really, because they don't have the aggressive comp. They drafted point tanks, really. And so it'll be interesting to see. I mean, 2 aggressive tanks, 2 point tanks, and then 2 snipers back-to-back going against it. Damba's going to get the better end of the healing, you'd think, but Genos, he's going to add that damage amp to 3 and 4 deadly champions to have that 15% damage boost. Nick, who you giving it to? Looking at this
I think
lineup.
if Kanga can gas pedal this, if they sit on their laurels, Na'Vi will win it. But if Kanga use the aggression that they've drafted, they can win this.
I think I don't disagree with you. And I do see a lot of opportunities for Kanga to pop off here.
You gotta do it.
But you gotta hit your shots. You gotta make it happen.
Kid.
And you gotta watch out for this Strix. It's Na'Vi versus Kanga. Na'Vi trying to go up 3-0 in the set as we head to Frog Isle.
Frog Isle it is. The barfing waterfall frog leads us in.
I was prepared for literally anything except that phrase. The barfing waterfall
Did we just
frog.
create a brand new sentence? I think we did. You've heard it here
definitely
first.
don't think I've ever
Barfing
heard
waterfall frog.
I literally any other thing about
Somebody-
Frog Isle you could have said, and I've been like, I've heard that one before. I don't think I've heard the phrase barfing waterfall frog.
Well, it being my favorite map has been, talked to death. I was gonna lead in and say, oh yeah, back to my favorite map. Then I was like, you know what? I've said that 1,000 times. Let's focus on why it's my favorite map. The barfing waterfall frog it is.
You want to know why it's my favorite map? One of the only maps, actually the only map in Paladins that is a real-world location.
That's just not true. Is it?
Dave, gaslighting doesn't work if you immediately say that it's not true.
Oh, we got. Problem is, I couldn't tell if you were being. The joke didn't work because of how far off.
I've got to gaslight the stream until someone believes me.
Oh no, I was just so far off on the joke. I was like, yeah. Wait, no, really? I believed you for a second.
It is in South America though.
Got it. All right. Well, there you go. It's a real place.
We actually do take a vacation there about in the middle of the summer every year. Unfortunately, the group has been getting smaller. Pretty deadly area.
Right above Serpent Beach.
Above Serpent Beach, right below Jaguar Falls.
Unfortunately,
Pretty dangerous. I mean, look, there's a Jaguar head. Where do you think it came from? Fell off of somewhere.
The real Jaguar. Unfortunately, it's also dangerous if you're a Kanga Esports player. Killless so far in this game, except for Chronic, just found 1. They were on the point for 66%, though. Honestly, 3 kills from Natus Vincere was enough to push them back. 90% now for them. Here come the first round of ultimates, though. The Vision as well as the Seismic Crash. Lazy's going to be good for some damage onto Joel's. He's switching off onto the Ashe this game. Lazy going low, though. This fight will decide which way point number 1 goes. You have to deal with Mutu. He's low. Evil Eye's going to be the one to come in there. The Ice Storm as well comes out as the Through Time and Space shoots through. Finds a little bit of damage, but not any kills. And there's the Dread Serpent as well. All of the ultimates get popped, but it's Natus Vincere who find the point.
And that was just a beautifully timed and placed Dread Serpent. No one could touch the objective without getting pushed away, and so Spunky making sure the control goes over to his team. Unfortunately, it was only for the capture. As of right now, the control has shifted right back in favor of Kanga, and they're showing a much more signs of life than we saw in Game 1. I'm actually excited to see this because Frog Isle gets out of hand really quick.
Yeah, don't be mistaken. They're on the defensive end right now, but they have Natus Vincere fully pushed back into their pace at the moment. Did you see anything specific that went wrong there for Kanga on the point fight, or was it just, you know, the kills didn't go in their direction and that was all that Natus Vincere needed?
There's a couple of good kills, and this one actually caught me off guard. I don't know if this changed the game, per se, but Mutu and Flashbang specifically, his ult on Strix here, is probably one of the most underrated things that can happen, because a Flashbang, especially for as long as the one on that Strix has lasts, and it being the only source of that kind of, I want to say, like CC in this game, you just all of a sudden you can't see. Have fun. Like, him and Maeve are the only two champions that can do that, and Maeve's is guaranteed to hit. It's harder to have a good Flashbang, I think, as a Strix, and Mutu made that impact felt.
He did, and it worked out very well in his favor there. Using the invisibility, but not actually moving out of it. I think threw Chronix off just a little bit there. They find themselves the presence again, pushing back Natus Vincere. They had the ultimates to play with, but with 50 seconds left, you imagine they'll just take the advantage that they have here. Off the map goes Lazy. Down come the next few as well. So they have everything except for the assert dominance. On the opposite side, you got everything. 40 seconds left. In your mind, I mean, it's hard to put an exact number on it, but what's kind of the time limit where you're willing to start throwing out some ultimates to try to get it pushed through versus just saving them for the next round? I mean, I guess it depends on how fast charging your ultimate is.
Fast charging and how far the payload is. I mean, where it is right now, I don't throw out maybe any ult other than the Flashbang, and that's just because not only does it charge fast, but again, 9 times out of 10 in a point fight, it's probably not going to be impactful. If you can hit one that's impactful, though, it can change a lot. Mutu being able to use just his to get back onto the objective for the team makes it very nice, very simple in order to regain and retake some of this land.
Well, things could get interesting here. The payload's starting to move forward. Unfortunately, Phoenix is going to fall at the hands of Evil Eye. He's been playing this Eevee to a T throughout the series. They haven't found a win yet, but the presence that they've had in these games is all on the back of this Eevee, doing a beautiful job here. Chronix as well. And Rhino, honestly, the whole Kanga roster's been playing well. It just hasn't worked out in their favor just as of yet. Couple kills rolling in the favor of Blue here. Overtime's going to be ticking away. Joel's not having the same impact that he had on the Barrack a couple games ago. And Lazy's just doing a beautiful job of staying alive here on the payload. It's him and Phoenix essentially just living. Overtime ticking away. Kanga needing to find just a couple kills here to get it pushed through. Chronix is going to do just that, a double, potentially a triple here onto the Barrack. The Void Grip's going to get bowling balled out of, but Chronix is not missing. Not yet.
Nice.
4 for him in the fight. His shoe calls, he picks up the phone, and he drops 4 kills to end up this round on Natus Vincere.
And I mean, like, solidifyingly good kills. Like, the last one on creatives is just kind of style points at that point, but he hit Inara, like, Lazy got that headshot connected right as that wall was going to come up. Like, if it comes a half second later, it goes into a wall and Lazy gets to stay alive. This point's still going on. Then you follow up on a bear kill. Then you follow up with a cat kill. Like, it's just good play from Chronix. And again, that kind of aim is the reason now we highlight these players. The reason that every team needs to have at least one guy that can pull out the snipers, the Leon, to fit this area, because when it makes a difference, it makes a difference. That 8-2 right now for Chronix is huge, and if the rest of the team can kind of keep him afloat, I think it's going to be more and more success for Kanga.
Yeah, I mean, 6-3 on your Eevee, 2-1-11 as well. Here comes some of the ultimates. Through time and space is going to connect for some damage. Phoenix is going to be the one who finds the kills, though. Lazy is so low on the Inara, and finally, Evil Eye's able to get in there. The Ice Storm and the Dome Shield are going to get traded off here. 3 kills, though, on the side of Natus Vincere. It's only Jera, only Rhino left alive, but he's going to fall shortly after it. And Natus Vincere, with some calculated fighting, take a clean sweep.
This comes down to the same story, I think. Now, every team that faces Na'Vi runs into the same position. If you can beat them and have a pretty decent defense against them, where is that fight when it comes to the point? And it's just because they get this kind of spread. Like, Rhino is locked down up here on the balcony, like, can't really look down on stage. And if he comes out into the open, all of a sudden he's going to be getting hit by shots from the sniper, which is right behind him, not exactly where you expect him. And you're going to be, you know, right under the brunt of Lazy. And I said this before, and I think it matters a ton.
Chronix.
Inara does way more damage than you think.
I know.
But Chronix changes the role of the game. That's a triple kill.
Hello.
because he just decided, you know what? Don't talk about lazy.
Yeah,
Let's
talk about me. Let's talk about me.
Put my name on it.
Let's talk about the 6'8" frame, the
Put some
37-inch.
respect.
Put some respect on my name, says Chronix, and we're doing that. We are giving him respect because, wow, he's really lit up these the defense and the team fight. The point's not captured just yet, 99% to 87. What almost looked like a guaranteed cap there for Natus Vincere has now been flipped on its head. The Ice Storm's going to be good for some damage. The Hexafire right into the Ash Shield. Oh, wait, that's his own shield. Not finding any. I thought that was the opposite team. Hexafire was not able to find any targets, though. And Mutu on the back end is going to find some damage. Evil Eye is going to be the one on the blue team to find some kills, though. But he's going to come out of his ice block. Nice. He turns it on to Mutu. That's a double here for Evil Eye in this fight. Is that enough, though, to turn this fight on its head? 230 health. He's able to get himself out alive. Here comes the seismic crash. Phoenix is finally going to drop the Eevee that's been hitting him in the back the entire time. Lazy falls as well, and the shoulder bash from Joel's is good. And Kanga find themselves the point fight win. Wow. That looked like Na'Vi was going to take it, and then it didn't, and then it did. And that was so far back and forth, and Kanga finally find the point fight that they've been looking for.
There was a lot of strength. Joel's played the end of that fight really well in order to kind of maintain control for his team. But that, in my eyes, there are two players that have to be highlighted from Kanga. Chronix opens that point up for them.
Yep.
And Evil Eye locks it down for them. Like, I feel like if Evil Eye doesn't kill off Creative specifically when he does, but then immediately gets rid of Mutu as well, those huge sources of damage, even if you are the best front lines in the world, with just a Genos behind you and presumably at this point at least tier 2 Cauterize online, you're going to have a little more to deal with. And now Phoenix is at tier 3, so you're having to deal with drastically reduced healing. All you have is the damage amp, but Ash is going to be able to utilize that. Ruckus can utilize that, but in the face of an Anar, in the face of a Barrack, if you have a Cassie, a Strix shooting you down, you are going to go down. You will not survive that engagement.
You have to hand it to them. Both of them have been playing lights out this series, essentially, and this game specifically on Frog Isle. The Barfing Waterfall Frog beckoning in some great plays here from both sides. Mutu not having the same impact on the Strix that he had in the previous rounds. Still playing well. But honestly, I think that point fight, it's just, you said it pretty well. I mean, Evil Eye just lived so long, turned so many heads, and then found kills on top of it. He had kind of a 3-tiered impact on that fight where he was able to stay alive, find some kills, and turn the attention off of his teammates. Os Rhino's going to start off this next point fight with a kill. Creative's going to try to stall it out here. Os Rhino's going to be the next to fall. Joel's gets a consolation kill, but you have about 36 seconds left here on the side of Kanga. About halfway to go, though. Natus Vincere are the ones who are finding the kills.
I mean, doing whatever they can. 30 seconds, and on any other map, I would say this is about the time, especially with the amount of kills that Na'Vi were able to just get, and the kind of control back onto the objectives is the only way I can really kind of say that for the payload. That's exactly what you need, and at this point you would write it out. But at Frog Isle, overtime pushes are not only feasible, they're easy. Like, it's something that you can absolutely accomplish.
That's
as long
true.
as you can kind of keep the kills rolling. You get rid of Lazy, you open up the entire world for you to be able to get aggressive. You just need someone on the objective.
You find 2, potentially 3 here. Phoenix able to drop 1 before he potentially goes down. That shield, he's playing around it so well. He's going to fall, though, but he buys so much time. The respawns are going to be able to come out from his team just a little bit cleaner now, and they're coming out from their base. You clean up Mutu here. That's going to be a big loss. Overtime. This is that overtime push we were talking about. Mutu's going to be the one to fall. Evil Eye now trying to get back into this fight, but Joel's is going to drop. The Anar wall is good at the moment, but it's going to be down to the Ruckus now, essentially, to try to contest it. Once he falls, it could be up in the air, and it is. We're up to 2-2 here on Frog Isle. This is a pretty contested, this whole matchup. I mean, map 1 was probably one of the quickest 4-0s I think we expected to see. Warder's Gate goes to the wire. Kanga look much better. Still looking good here on Frog Isle.
Making the changes they need to change step by step. And it also comes down to the fact that, again, you know, you look at both of these teams, they haven't played in a little bit. They've gotten their weeks off. And so they're coming in feeling fresh, but also maybe a little uncomfortable, just having to get back into the LAN environment, get comfortable one more time. But I think you could say Evil Eye's comfortable based on the 16-5-14 /line. Obviously, Chronix is comfortable based on what we've seen the last couple of fights.
Yeah.
I am just... I need to see them keep that up, right? You can't have that level of play sometimes. That's the biggest issue. Most people, you can have a great moment against Na'Vi, but it's a moment. You need this to be minutes of greatness. You need it to last every map, which is probably the hardest thing to do, is to perform at this level at a sustained point. But then you get a beautiful shot like that, and you just get rid of Lazy.
Yeah, Lazy drops almost immediately. The animation lock from the ultimate's enough to lock him down. Phoenix, though, able to answer back. The Dread Serpent comes out as well. And that's going to be good for some fears and some kills. And what looked like a Kanga Esports fight win actually ends up getting flipped on its head. The Dread Serpent's really good in this case. Spunky finding a good Dread Serpent. That's able to find Natus Vincere on the point.
That was such a good start. That turned into such a kind of, I want to say, like tripping over themselves performance from Kanga, like where you open it up, and then I feel like Chronix gets too aggressive. He gets hit by the Dread Serpent way too far up there, and then everybody is just one by one by one. You fall off. Unfortunately for Evil Eye, I think he was the last one, because he's the hardest one to lock down, the last one to get locked down. But that is all Na'Vi needed, and much like the last couple rounds, even though none of these pushes have gone through, this is not a long push. You just have to win like 2-3 fights, essentially, as the defense to make sure it doesn't get through.
Well, if we want to read the book, that is this map so far in this matchup, it'll tell you that Kanga will essentially fight back for the entirety of the first minute and a half, and then in the last 30 seconds is when Natus Vincere will finally get back onto the point, or onto the payload, and then an overtime push will commence for the next about minute and a half. So maybe expecting to see some more of the same here. Minute 45 seconds left, though, not too much time off the clock, but again, as we've said, the payload hasn't really moved too far forward. I think Chronix feels pretty comfortable playing the Kinessa on the defensive end. He's had essentially a quadra kill to fight off on that first defense. Creatives, though, he's having a tough time here on the offensive push. And this is fine, I think, if you're on the side of Kanga. You're essentially just buying time here. I mean, you'll trade out a few kills if it keeps Natus Vincere pushed back.
The shot's right there from Joel. Still connecting well,
There's
but
Mutu.
not connecting as well as Mutu. And that's actually your phrase exactly. There's Mutu. He hasn't really been as loud this game as we've seen in the past. And that's one of the things. I mean, Bittner on this map, when he was playing Strix, was, 21-3. Like, he was doing something ridiculous. We've seen some ridiculous things here, but Mutu's 11, 14, and 11. Like, he's had his impact. He's been a part of several kills, 22 total. But they haven't been crazy incredible shots. It hasn't been crazy incredible kills or anything game-changing so far. He has 44 seconds, at least this round, to try and prove that this is a pick that is strong for the team.
This payload's starting to move fast as well. Chronix falls. Oh, that's tough for Kanga. Now you're basically trapped in the back of your base. This one could go through. Down comes the Assert Dominance. That's going to be good for a couple stuns. Joel's trying to keep this one from going through. Killing off Phoenix is going to be pretty helpful in that regard, as well as Mutu going down. He's going to get one on his way out, though. 20 seconds left. It looks like they're just going to back off, regroup a little bit. They understand on the side of Natus Vincere that one team fight win here pushes it through with 10 seconds left. It's going to be up to Lazy to get in through here and get a touch onto the point. 5 seconds left. Both teams setting up for what they think will be the final team fight of this. Kanga Esports has the respawn advantage in their favor. The Void Grip lifts up Lazy. He's low to start off this fight. Here's the Seismic Crash. It goes back onto Chronix. It's going to be good, but he's going to trade out his life. In the meantime, Chronix back up now, has free reign to fire on the side of Natus Vincere. And a strong defense, a strong team fight win there from Kanga makes it another 3-3 Gore.
Joel's and Chronix played that defense damn near picture perfect.
I
exactly
agree.
Where you need to. There's one angle that Inara can come from that Joel's was holding, and he's like, you know what? You're either going to come through here where there were 2 oppressor mindset, which would immediately slow Inara down, and even if you decide that that's the route you want to go through, now you have to deal with the 2 knockbacks that could potentially come out of this Ash. And then on top of that, you have to deal with the damage because Chronix took a very, very specific angle to watch those zones, and it was just played pretty much exactly the way they needed to define the defense there. But again, that aggression, that amount of, I want to say, wit that goes into that defense has to come out here on the point now that it's 3-3 more than ever.
Well, if you're looking at real impactful ultimates, you imagine the Scout will come out. There it is. So you really only have the Dread Serpent on the side of Natus Vincere, but you're close to an Ice Storm. You're close to a Headhunter. Ooh, I was going to say you have the Hexafire, but Rhino's going to drop before he's able to use that. And this could get scary here. Natus Vincere now kind of with the free reign to just push forward. There's the Ice Storm. It's going to come out. Phoenix is going to be the one to fall. Oh, but right into a Dread Serpent. Evil Eye gets sent running. No kills coming out on the back end of that one just yet, though. 27% here for Natus Vincere, looking to close up another 4-3 in their favor.
Good flare to get some vision, but I think Nutu is going to have to step out. Almost takes the wrong step right there, but he's able to survive. Jaren not going to get any kills with that one. And if they can lock down the support, that would be a beautiful win for Na'Vi. But right now it's 48-33, just bouncing back and forth between the two.
Uh-oh. Here's the matchup we look at, down to half health. Oh, but Evil Eye's so low. Mutu's able to fight through that and find a kill. Chronix, though, is going to drop Phoenix. He's had a rough game, Phoenix has. The Barrack just hasn't really been working out in his favor. Up to the treetops goes Evil Eye, finding himself some cover to get himself out safe. He's going to find some healing as well. 63% now for Kanga. The shots are good onto creatives, but not finding the kill just yet. Lazy takes too much damage. Now that's the point tank, 87% here for Kanga. That's going to keep climbing up. Natus Vincere need to make a push and need to make it now, but creatives falls as well as Spunky, and it looks like Kanga finally found a way to weather the Natus Vincere storm and find themselves win number 1. Woo! And they do. Overtime ticking away. Make it 4-3.
I wanted to wait
Make
for
it
it.
1-0.
I was just going to play it safe. Now I'm going to talk about what I wanted to talk
Now
about.
banners in the ground. Kanga wins.
Evil Eye. You can see him almost at the end. Not quite the last person in this row. Sitting right next to Jera. I almost called him Yordi, which is that's a Nick thing. I'm going to let him have that one. No, Jera and Evil Eye. And I think Jera staying alive as long as he did was incredible. But Evil Eye is the one I want to highlight because I tend to forget how good he is at EV all of the time.
Wild.
And I think these last two games have been a very fresh reminder, not only for me, but for pretty much everybody who has been coming through, that you have to worry about him. And if he gets this pick, it's going to be a threat.
Well, Kanga Esports get their first smell of steak here. Potential steak dinner coming in their favor. 2-1 still, though, in favor of Na'Vi. Let's send it back to the guys at the desk.
Kanga with a smell of steak.
Steak dinner.
They're tasting it. They have a little bit of the, I guess, the image in their head now. It's forming. Maybe just got put on the pan. And they are excited to continue that process. But there's still much work to be done, Nick. It was a 20-minute game, apparently. Essentially, so not apparently, on Frog Isle, which is super rare in general. But Kanga pull it out.
That was almost the classic, like, loss to Na'Vi, where the last time I saw the slash lines for Na'Vi, they were, I think, creatives was even and everybody else was negative, but they were just playing the point better. They were just capturing every single objective and pushing it right along there. I think I definitely agree with the sentiment. 9-16. Certainly not the performance we expect from Phoenix, and also not really the character we really are used to seeing him on. He's not much of a Barrack guy. Usually finds himself on the Ash, on the Ruckus, but Khan banned out. Both the others picked away. Kanga kind of went after him in the draft.
Yeah, it does seem like they went after, you know, quite a bit of different things. But Chronix really showed up on this Kinessa, and that was the last pick that they were waiting to see, and waiting that long meant that you had to go with the Strix. I feel like that might have been favored in general, but it was very hard to stop the lethality of this sniper. And what really did happen is that, you know, there was not an easy answer for Lazy or really any of the front lines for Natus Vincere to get to Chronix.
Yeah, it's just so much damage. Very easy to leverage this talent. Steady him, you can see every fully charged shot, those fun little, you know, orange comic book looking numbers with the kapow sound effect around him. That means he's hitting with that bonus damage and leveraging that quite a bit as he's at 138,000 with a 3 KDA. Pretty solid performance from a guy that hasn't historically played a lot of snipers. Chronix has played everything but DPS up until this point for this Kanga roster, so the fact that he can hop onto this final frontier and actually do very well is a very, very good sign for Kanga going forward.
Well, Game 4 coming up soon. It's now a little bit of a taller task for Natus Vincere to come through with Mutu and take a win. We were just looking at some of the Twitter posts that Mutu had posted up, and he actually has Moji in his kind of welcome back tweet. So maybe we weren't too far off.
It's time. The secret weapon.
And this was, again, Kanga's map selection. So they knew what they wanted to do. This is now going to swap into Na'Vi's map selection. And Stonekeep, pretty standard stuff. Again, a map we haven't seen today. So we've literally been playing every single map that exists in Paladins without repeating.
Never before seen.
I'm not sure. I mean, they could definitely do it. They go to Fish Market, and then they go to, then they go to, oh, Shadow Desert's banned. Jaguar Falls. We didn't see that, but it's banned still. I'm not sure if they can go anywhere else. Fish Market.
Running out of maps.
Running
They
out.
can't go there yet because nobody can lose.
That's right. You're right. They got to win here, and then they got to go to Fish Market for the last one. And that will be then the place where teams go to lose.
Kanga on Fish Market. May the meme live on. And
Yeah,
Navi.
that's
After they
true.
lost their world championship.
That's true. See what I'm saying? It's real, Nick.
Everybody loses on Fish Market.
Even
Even when you win, you lose.
when you win,
you lost. Because you had to play Fish Market.
Well, we're getting into a much more contested day than I think we've seen. You've usually seen more of that, 4-1 pace, and then maybe there's a 4-3, but both sets today have seemed really intensely contested, and the points are not really telling the story, because even if there has been, earlier matches that have gone one way or the other, it is long games. It is hard-fought games. And that 2-1, could have gone either way for sure. And there's going to be the Khan and the Makoa, the Torvald and the Cassie back to standard bans, at least for today.
Yeah, pretty much. It definitely has not been as spicy as I thought it would be, to be completely honest. But it is game 4. I figure this is probably, if they're going to get weird, this is probably about the spot they do it. They're coming off a loss on that third map. Had it pretty much wrapped up and looking like they could do whatever they wanted on Bright Marsh. I have to say, though, that wasn't the spice of today. That was, something very unconventional that they did on Bright Marsh with the Vivian. At least for this meta time, nobody's really doing that anymore. So the fact that it was clear that they kind of took Kanga off guard there, and they didn't have much of an answer for it. First pick Genos.
That's surprising.
Maybe 2 weeks ago you would have expected to see that, but again, this game changes so quickly, almost week to week at this point, as everyone scrambles to figure out what's best.
Well, Kanga
Come on, let's
gonna go for
fight.
the Ash. That's been working very well for
Let's
Rhino.
make this
And, oh, the
interesting.
Pip, bringing out a little bit of that NIP style. And Pip, he sure knows how to fry some chicken. Not quite steak, but at least.
Man, it almost feels like this is like we need to get this away from them before they get this Luminary Pip kind of
I feel
bouncing
that.
around and ripping us to pieces.
I feel that.
Evil Mojoing our aggro tank every single time she wants to shoulder bash in.
Guns.
Phoenix will be back, thankfully, on one of his more comfortable picks in the Ruckus.
Had it too much for you,
People like chatting a lot too. A lot of conversation. Not the most talkative guy in general. A little bit more, I guess, introverted as far as his initial impression when you meet him in person, but he definitely a really sweet guy, and he's got a great talent. Bitey was talking about him the other day and says he just needs to be included in the top tier conversation for blasters in the world. And if he can win the set against Na'Vi, he certainly will be. But these are the types of
In
hills
this game, you
people have
win
to
or you
climb to really
die.
kind of earn
There
those
is
moments
no middle ground.
and those titles.
You trespass and are unwanted.
Looks like he'll be playing the
stranger.
Pip, too, based on what the rest of the draft is shaping up to be here for Kanga, which is not something that's very standard for him, but that's what this season is. You have to be able to get out there and play those more fringe picks, especially, like I was saying last set, the DPS pool feels a little shallow right now. It's like Leon, Cassie, and then Xin. Most of them can also play. But these blasters, man, they gotta do the Pip, they gotta do the Drogos, they gotta do the Eevee, they gotta sometimes do the Xin as well. Then they gotta do the Bomb King. It's like, my goodness, they certainly have the taller task, and there's much fewer of them out there.
Oh yeah, I mean the role is quite wild, and we haven't really seen someone do what Tenor's doing, and what traditionally more of the blaster flex does, like Fish, where you combine the Bomb King, the Eevee, and the Grover, and the Pip, and the Grok, and it's like you usually kind of have a person who does one or the other as far as their flex pool. Alex actually doing a great job, really being one of the only people who have done that and succeeded with NIP. Grover going to be the main healer here, and it will be a Evil Eye Pip. How do you feel?
Yeah. I mean, I think I feel good about both these squads here. Curious to see how Evil Eye looks on the Pip. I think that's going to be the biggest determining factor of whether they can win or lose.
All right, well, Kanga trying to tie it up here as we head into Game 4. Sent down to your casters, Dave and Gore.
Thank you, guys. Some good drafts in the books there. I'm really excited. They highlighted it towards the end. I'm really excited to see the Evil Eye Pip. I mean, he has been lights out on the Eevee. I think the Pip will be exciting to watch. just the same.
And admittedly, I think for Pip, it almost excites me even more because I feel like if you can do really well on Pip, it can be game-changing. You do really well on Eevee. It's flashy. You can get some good kills, but it's not always going to result in your team winning. If you get good Evil Mojo, then Na'Vi has no big chances here. And that's why I actually think that Na'Vi, at least as one of the teams that has done it a lot before, should be able to adapt and recognize that Pip is probably going to be a big problem here and lock him down.
It's interesting seeing him come into it a little bit more. Hade's big smile on his face as he walks by.
He seems happy. That seems
they
way
should.
happier than a guy
honestly,
who's down in the south.
Honestly, they should. In my eyes, they should. I mean, yeah, they're down 2-1, but they've looked, I mean, again, aside from that game number 1, they've looked really good.
So which one do you think is better? Hade's walked by with a huge smile on his face, but Hecate just seconds before walked by and dabbed. Which one wins the hallway walk?
You know,
obviously Hecate.
Hade's smiling warms my heart more.
Oh,
Hecate.
That's actually really sweet.
Hecate makes me laugh. He doesn't just do it in the pregame lineup video. He does it in real life too. Rest assured that he has mastered the dab at this point. Natus Vincere though find themselves on the point first. Evil Eye on the Pip. That's kind of been the big hinge point that we've talked about. He's going to be the first to fall, but Chronix is able to answer out, as well as Mutu. He's the guy on this Xin, hoping to have a little bit better of an impact than he did last time. Phoenix and Creatives are going to combine for a couple. Likely will spell point number 1 here for Natus Vincere, and that's something we didn't really talk about. Creatives finally gets back onto his Bomb King.
Yeah.
That's going to be a big difference maker in this one as well, I think.
And he has Luminary behind him. And I think it was, what was it, last week, 2 weeks ago? That was like all we could say was, hey, Luminary Bomb King.
Luminary Bomb
But
King.
there's a good reason behind it. It's just because it's so much damage in one area. 3 bombs, which you can get out in pretty quick succession with that boost, are going to kill pretty much anybody except maybe the Ashe and the Inara who stands in front of him. Grover, depending on when he has his heal up, Pip, depending on when he has his heal up, might survive to see a 4th bomb. But you can't really take the 1v1 with him and kind of hope that you're going to win. You're going to have to play it very smart against Creatives to make sure he stays locked down.
Evil Eye was trying to find some of that lockdown for him, unable to find it just now. Bit off a little more than he could chew. Now it's on Mutu to provide some more of that damage. Get this payload moving forward again. Rhino's going to be able to drop the Bomb King, so that's a little bit of a monkey off of Kanga's back. But unfortunately, the kills are all coming up blue here. Spunky is going to be the one who finds the last one. The payload's going to be right in the corner here in just a moment. Evil Eye just doinking out. Such actually a really satisfying sound. Just wait, I want to. I don't know. I don't know what the doink is, dude. The little doink, doink. I don't know what. That's so satisfying.
It is a satisfying noise. I wonder.
Such
you
a
know what I
clean
want to
sound.
know? How they made that noise.
It's a PVC pipe with a rubber mallet on the side. There you go. Book it.
Book it.
Dolson, the sound designer.
I was gonna say actually, if you took PVC pipe and like you were just throwing a ball into it.
Oh, you might be right.
Like with some water, I guess, like at the bottom to make sure that it had the punk
Right.
or whatever. How did you word it? The doink.
The doink.
The doink. The true doinks.
The doinks, unfortunately, too much.
Man. If he hits a good Evil Mojo, please yell "get doinked."
But does it make the same sound?
No,
that's a
but
chicken
it's still fun to listen to.
I guess that's true.
To hear you say it.
What, doink? Do I say doink weirdly?
No, I
is
just think it's a fun word. And
It's a
I'm
fun
not
word.
going to scream it, so you got to.
That's true. Actually,
You're supposed to take all the hype Evil Mojos.
That's true. You're right. The leading into it, though, there were a couple members of Natus Vincere around the corner, so potentially a hyper-reactionary Evil Mojo to start off the unpaused game, but that's a very, very specific scenario, and I doubt it'll happen. But
Well, it's
there.
also that area. Of all people, I guess Pip is the one who would do it. If you want to use your ult at this point, you
Right.
can go ahead in a defense. Because if anyone's going to be able to charge it back in 48 seconds, it'll be Pip.
All
Although,
right, here it is.
minute and a half is usually the timer we've been going for. Let's see,
Oh.
does he get the ultimate doink?
Nope. He finds some damaging doinks, but not the ultimate doink. Just
No
as
big
of
doinks
yet.
here.
No big doinks. Ooh, that's a fadeaway doink on the Mutu. Is Evil Eye. Nice shots coming out there from the Pip. 4 ultimates ready for Natus Vincere. 5 ready on the side of Kanga, though. 27 seconds left. The defense is looking good at the moment. And now it's kind of in that point where how much do we choose to invest on the offensive end? How much do we choose to invest on the defensive end to keep this one from going through?
Trying to hold the angles, do whatever they can. kind of keep themselves in a good position. But Rhino, he's incredibly low. One more hit from Mutu is going to do it. And I think that's going to open this door. You can see Lazy kind of dancing around the payload through the wall right there. Creatives is coming up onto the high ground, and a nice spite to get some aggression. Doesn't hit anybody, but it gets him in a comfortable position because no one's looking at him.
There's a seismic crash. It's going to stun some up, but he's going to hold himself in place just a little bit too long. That's a big contest, a point contest going down now. The payload's stalled out at the moment. Rhino's able to deal with some of this Mutu damage. Nobody dropping off as of yet. Here's the Enlightenment. It's going to be good for a kill onto Lazy, but Rhino's going to fall as well. Creatives, though, is still alive, pouring out damage on the backside. Chronix needs to be the guy, but unfortunately he falls. Kills are coming up red and blue. At the moment, though, it's Mutu against Joel's. If they can clean up this Sin, the defense will be good. They don't even need to.
Yeah, it takes one step too far. Actually might have been able to if he had stayed alive there, and if he hadn't gotten off, might have been able to save it long enough for Lazy or Phoenix to come back and touch down one more time. I think that was Phoenix running up. But that was so well played from Na'Vi that the only thing I think that Kanga, like the thing that had Kanga going for them was respawn proximity. If that fight happens on a point and they can play it that beautifully, that is a Na'Vi win. That is absolutely what you need to see out of a team. And it came down really just what caught my eyes. Mutu going for a spite that wasn't to connect with anyone. It was literally just to get below this balcony when he knew no one was going to look at him, so he could kill off anybody, Joel's and Rhino specifically, but anybody who really tried to jump down and touch the objective.
Worked out in his favor that time. Through time and space. Ooh, that was
they all just stopped and watched.
That was close, actually. A couple more steps forward. That could have been a huge through time and space on Spunky or for Spunky on the opposite side. Evil Eye, though, is going to be the one to open it up. He's going to trade out his life. Doink number 2 coming in from Creatives, but he's going to trade out his life. The spite is good this time onto Chronix. Mutu and Phoenix combining for a couple kills on the blue side. Kanga down 3. You still have Rhino, though, on this Ashe contesting the point. Lots of Mutu damage in his face. He's going to fall as well. And finally, Natus Vincere stabilize the fight and get themselves on the point.
Mutu getting aggressive. I love this because this is the same thing we saw out of Evil Eye kind of last game, where it's we're going to get aggressive and I'm going to pull your eyes away from the objective, the point. And if you're not looking at me, I'm going to get obscene amounts of damage on you. And if you are looking at me, then you're not fighting where you need to be fighting. There's no win scenario here for Kanga. They have to be able to fight on 2 fronts. And unfortunately, it's not going exactly the way they want it to. That's going to be a good Enlightenment, but it's not quite good enough. Phoenix stays alive.
Phoenix finding his 3rd in this fight. Lazy as well is going to find one. Jared, the only red kill on the sidebar over there. Overtime's going to tick away. Natus Vincere going to find themselves point number 2, barring a crazy, absurd comeback here, and it's not going to work out that time in favor of Kanga. Rhino having a bit of a tough game as well as Joel's. The frontliners, quite frankly, eating a lot of damage from the side of Natus Vincere. 10-2 Phoenix and 9-2 Mutu. Well, that'll do it to your front line. That'll be just enough to have a rough line on the Kanga side.
What I love is if you cover that up, it doesn't look any different than really what we've seen in the last couple of games. 2-2, 3-5, 2-2, and then all the slash lines on Kanga. Goes kind of back to where Frog Isle was after a little bit until Chronix just kind of blew up and decided to demolish everybody with a sniper scope. This is going to be what Phoenix and Mutu bring to the table. This is the reason it was so big that Zarini was coming in and filling in where Phoenix was instead of playing point tank like he normally does and forcing Phoenix to play DPS. It was just such a weird swap for them and something they weren't prepared for. So looking good even with that is, I think, a showcase of why exactly these players can play at this level. Why a lot of them are world champions.
Why I'm not in there playing the game right now. I don't think any team. I don't think any team could withstand me on their roster. I don't think
there's any. Definitely no PPL team.
No,
right?
I
honestly not even a minor league team.
No team could withstand me on the roster.
Me, you, Evan, and Nick, and then add a 5th. Blake. We'll take Blake, because Blake plays a lot of Paladins. Blake's actually really good at Paladins. We'll take all us 5. I think we could beat Retaliation and
Creatives.
Eastworm.
Yeah, right. Creatives, though, finds 3 for himself. Looking to get this one pushed through for Natus Vincere. The ultimates are there, but that's all they need. Creatives Bomb King didn't have the greatest slash line going into that one. Looking a lot better here, though. I think he was 2-5. Make that a 3-5 here for Creatives. Natus Vincere finding their footing a little bit on Stone Keep. The other maps have been a little bit higher contested than this one is. This is a little bit back to how map number 1 was, where Kanga just seems to be on the back foot.
And it's not even anything that they're doing, I want to say, like, quote-unquote wrong, right? They're not approaching the fight improperly. They are getting split up, but admittedly, that's because Na'Vi are kind of forcing it out of them. You can't fight all together. If Rhino's on the point doing what Rhino needs to be doing in this kind of scenario, Joel's can't get there. You have to be able to find this fight somewhere else, and unfortunately, Mutu is splitting the distraction if they're not looking at Mutu. Very much what happened last round, where it's just, if you don't look at me, I'm going to kill you, and if you do look at me, you're not fighting where you need to be. They're playing the point fight perfectly, and all you need is a little loop like this.
Mutu with the loop-de-loop, trying to find the damage for himself here, and he's essentially in behind 3 members of the Kanga lineup. The entire team now. The Whirlwind's going to come out, top off some of those red health bars. But be careful, Mutu's not in his base, remind you. The Enlightenment's going to be good from Chronix. A couple bombs in the back of Jera there. Mutu, I think, is just zoning out. Yeah, zoning out the respawns here from Kanga. The spite is not going to be good. Well, it is going to be a good spite, but he's going to trade out his life on that one. Chronix down to 40 health. Holds onto the health bar. 97% now on the side of Kanga. A good bit of burst damage there from Chronix, as well as the Hexafire coming out on the opposite side, though. Phoenix finds the damage, but can he find the kill? He dashes in. The rocket cleans up Chronix. Now he's into the back of Jera right now, and he's up top. He's pouring out damage, and there's nothing turning around onto him at the moment. He does end up falling. Evil Eye, a nice double there. It looks like Kanga are poised to take point number 2 here for them, but Natus Vincere stabilized.
I mean, there's only 2 players that are still dancing around. Evil Eye going to be forced to fall back. Chronix respawn. Jera respawned. They don't really have the tanky bodies you need to be throwing onto the objective, so it's going to be a little longer before Kanga can find themselves. I want to say, kind of stop the boat from rocking right now, right? But they get that 99%. It's acting as a 6-man. They have to fight on the point if you're Na'Vi. You can't leave it for a second, and it's going to come up to kills, ults, things like that to make the big difference. Can this King Bomb find it?
Oh no, the wall stopped him off. He does end up finding a stun onto Joel's, a double kill onto Jera, but Evil Eye is going to answer back. He falls, though, as well. Now he's going to try to get in onto Chronix, who wins this 1v1 battle. This is pretty essential. Chronix getting the shorter end of it now at the moment. Mutu decides to take his talents elsewhere. Out and around the door he goes. Lazy drops Rhino. And it looks like the kills are all coming up blue. Provided that it keeps going the same way, Natus Vincere going to be able to clean this one up. But now the ultimates are starting to come out as well. Natus Vincere do clean up the fight, and they take the win.
That was the second Evil Mojo of that fight, and unfortunately there was just not enough follow-up. And I actually want to say that was close to being a Kanga point.
It was.
Because of how deep Mutu was. Like, he's just outside their base. If he gets that kill onto, I believe it was Rhino at the time. Like, if he kills Rhino there, then that completely flips over in favor of Na'Vi. But the fact that he goes down that deep and then there's no real recuperation, I feel like Kanga almost had what they needed. All they needed was one more kill in a key moment. But unfortunately, you can't really, I guess, either you underestimated or overestimated where Ruckus was going to be, and Phoenix just jumped into your face and demolished 2 people.
He found himself 2 to round things out. Na'Vi, though, finding themselves win number 3 here in our second set of the day. Let's send it back down to the guys at the desk.
Thanks, guys. Coming in towards the end of the set, potentially, if Natus Vincere can keep this up. Nick, they get their 3rd win. They now have a little bit of momentum going in, a little bit of pressure relieved.
Definitely.
Because, you know, Kanga, they got that W. They had a couple of contested matches, but now it's looking like Natus Vincere are going to pull away.
Pretty much. I think there is definitely a lot of fight there in Kanga. I think they're definitely pretty close to Na'Vi in a lot of these. And even if the scoreline ends up going 4-1, I don't think anyone's going to really want to remember this as Kanga getting blown out of the building. If every game went like Bright Marsh, then maybe, but Na'Vi have definitely been pushed a little bit today, forced to sweat a little bit today. Last game was very good, but back in their roles, back where I think most people would expect every member of Na'Vi to be in terms of champions and comfort picks, I think they definitely start to look more like themselves. Phoenix especially going from, it was like 6-14 or something like that on Barrack to now almost completely flipping that slash line on Ruckus. His impact in the game, when it's not there, it's very, very real. It's easy thing to see, I think, for Na'Vi, but once he's back on a comfort pick, he's definitely popping off again.
And, you know, the through times and spaces, I mean, the damage amp, you know, I think Spunky's very comfortable on that Luminary Genos. I think that, you know, Lazy on Barrack, that's almost become, you know, his most identifiable champion at that point. So not only do they have comfort, They also draft that aggressive front line into that also stable front line on the point. So that it's, because remember Frog Isle, they drafted 2-point front lines. It was a kind of a unique thing. We don't see a lot of teams do that. So something definitely shifted, and now I think they've gotten back into the rhythm that they obviously have been wanting to be in for the entirety of the set. Dropping maps, though, we talked about this actually behind the scenes with NIP and Virtus Pro. Virtus Pro were like, we want to just win as many maps as possible because the game differential, that matters. So, you got to understand that Kanga taking a map off Na'Vi, that helps for sure.
Definitely. I think there is definitely some fight left to be had here for Kanga. We'll see where they like to go on the maps, what's left in the pool. I think as we start to get weirder and weirder, I hope we see something, a little bit more strategy, a little bit more corny in the pick section. That's what I was expecting. That's what everyone had kind of set this set up to be, and I got to say, it's been a little lackluster in the draft.
Well, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Kanga and Natus Vincere, see how the set finishes up. The Paladins Premier League, brought to you by Skillshot, High Res, Evil Mojo, INAP, Steel Series, and Respawn.
Our time is short. Our days counted. These tales of the past, they tell of our hubris. Of victory at all costs. Of unleashing forces we could not control. The darkness has conquered all. This realm is lost. I must return. I must change what was. I am our last hope.
Hey everyone, Heroic Leap J Nash, Evil Mojo Alyssa, and Titan Isaiah here with some exciting news.
Crossplay and cross progression for Smite,
Paladins,
and Realm Royale is live.
Players on PC, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch can now play with and against each other.
And by linking your Xbox and Nintendo Switch accounts to a high-res account, you'll be able to enjoy all of your own content and account progress across 3 platforms.
Head over to my.highresstudios.com to link your accounts, and be sure to check out our crossplay and cross-progression FAQ at highresstudios.com/crossplay for more details. We'll continue to forge ahead
on the battleground
and in the realm.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We got to see a little bit of that crossplay announcement. Alyssa, farewell. Hope you're doing well in your journey, but no longer with the company, still in our memory and our history, of course, with all of our community management. But now it's time to get into some more Paladins. Natus Vincere and Kanga. That is the set you have been watching. Took a quick break as Natus Vincere won that last game. And Kanga looking to bounce back. Although, if you guys want to know, just like we're doing a couple of things with Mixer, we're also doing a partnership with Discord Nitro. Make sure to sign up. As long as you're a subscriber there, you will get some free loot for Paladins. Make sure to check that out and be involved with Discord Nitro. Win-win for both Discord and Paladins and you, I guess.
Everyone.
A win-win-win.
Everyone's a winner.
It's a triple win.
But not here. Someone's got to lose.
Someone's got to lose. And we're not going to the place where teams go to lose, unfortunately. I heard that it's Ice Mines.
So we got to keep it going. Kanga's winning it.
Yeah, and I think Kanga at this point, honestly, Nick, they have a chance to pull away here and pull back into the set. Because Ice Mines is a tricky one. If you get it wrong, you definitely could be facing another game.
It's tough to be down 3-1 against Na'Vi. I think no matter how you slice it, at any point in time since this team's inception, being down 3-1 against Na'Vi has not been a good place to be. Like you did mention, it is going to be Ice Mines. Oh, Fish Market's banned out, so we can't go to lose there.
How did I not
Na'Vi are safe. They're safe. They don't have to worry about it.
That's a bit of a...
So what's left? Timber Mill, Serpent Beach, and Shadow Desert's banned.
It's Timber Mill, Serpent Beach, but we really know that there's got to be 2 more, right? So, I
think there's one map that you don't have to play.
I thought we got that it was 2. I thought we did that.
I don't know. I'm forgetting something. I don't know what I'm forgetting, but I am forgetting something.
Well, Ascension Peak.
That's it.
Yeah, Ascension Peak. So, right. Timber Serpent, Ascension Peak.
Timber Peak.
Timber Peak.
Ascension
and Split
Serpent.
Stone.
That one was banned out.
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. Oh man. Okay, we're gonna put somebody in production under fire. His name is. Just kidding. Just kidding. You lucked out on that one. I could have called you out, and everyone in the Paladin stream would have known. But it's okay. I'm gonna hold that L.
welcome
It was
here.
me all along. Navi grabbing Inara and Cassie here. A very strong combo. Takes away the big threat with big game. Adds the pressure onto the Cassie. Looks good on Mutu or creatives. And opens up a lot of flexibility for the draft.
This has not been the spiciness I was promised.
Nick,
this is continuing to be average. Where's my emoji?
Can I continue this line of thought? Who and where were you promised spice by?
When I talked to Navi, I'm like, they brought it up. They were like, man, Mutu's been like, he's been playing all this crazy stuff. And I was like, okay, what? And he goes, I'm not telling you. And I said, okay, that's fine. And then Hayes is like, you know, that we expect them to draft just like NIP did, copy and paste, blah, blah, blah. Not happening. So now I'm honestly looking at this matchup next week between NIP and Navi.
Well, Nick, okay. All right. So maybe, a little theory, Kanga were playing so well that Navi have now gone into super serious mode, and they're not dealing with any Mutu's
just because they
crazy
lost
antics.
one.
Well, I mean, it was pretty it was contested to the point where they're kind of like, oh man, this is a set. You know, we can't just like not play well.
Spirits.
So we'll see. There's still a chance for the spiciness, but that's what I'm thinking. Maybe they win. Like we can't be risky, guys.
They underestimated the ruse and the desire for the steak knot.
I think they underestimated your, what they were saying to you and how much you latched onto that.
I'm pissed.
I
had faith.
That's why you just got to be careful about what you say. Some people,
when you put your emotions out there, you're just setting yourself up to get hurt.
They just probably thought they were just chatting with you. You're like, oh man, this is huge. We've had death segments about
that man lied to me.
That man lied to you. Or he's just like really hardcore trolling you, lying. The Grover here, this is probably just a normal Grover. And it is a healing Grover.
Ooh.
Ferocity's not been the case for anyone except NIP today. That's a little spice, Nick.
That is very spicy.
A little spice.
Here it is. The last two picks.
Cotton
Come
Dredge.
on, do it.
Jacks. Dredge.
No pun intended. I like it. Triple tank from Kanga. Going to be awesome to watch with the Grover. And Zin is also a very tanky flanker as far as they go. But if Dredge can get in there and bust it all up, oh my goodness. And maybe I'll be for nothing. I can't wait to see. We haven't seen Dredge in so long. And he's never, I think Ice Mines is like the only map I've seen him on too.
You're right. He has an Ice Mines kind of style.
They call him Mr. Nice Mines.
They call him Mr. Nice Mines. That's a good one. I like that one actually. So Mr. Zombie Jack Sparrow, I like that comment in chat. Undulate, man. Good one on you. Is going to join the ranks of Navi.
Let's go.
We're going to see Kanga have to try their hand at the triple tank. Do you think they're ready?
I don't know. Can you ever see a Dredge coming? You don't play it that often, so if you're not good at it, it still won't cut the mustard here. Navi have to execute.
Well, we'll see if they can take this Dredge out, or if this Dredge will be doing it to them. Triple tank against the bombs. Let's send it down to Dave and Gore, see what they think.
I feel like the Ice Mine song should have been replaced with the Pirates of the Caribbean song in this case. A little bit of spice now. Finally getting a little bit of the peppercini here in this game. Triple tank on the Kanga side. Scuttle on the Dredge there for Mutu. Which spicy is more spicy in this case, Score?
I like Dredge. I think, and as a whole, and this is coming from someone who's put hundreds of hours into Sea of Thieves. I consider myself a pirate expert. Dredge especially on this map, is incredibly good. And Scuttle is one of the things, like, obviously 0% pick, 0% ban rate. This is the first time he's being played in the Premier League. But we've seen him in the past. We've seen him in, I'm not sure if it's the minor league this split, but we definitely saw him in the fall split after his release. Ice Mines was the big map for him, and it's because he can sit up on the balcony, peek through the windows. It's a lot of control, a lot of spam damage, and that's going to be what we're seeing. We're going to see 3 grenades get thrown out, then a reload. 3 grenades, reload. He might go, it kind of depends. I think most people do tier 1, max tier 2 of the deft hands to kind of keep themselves going. And because it is very much all based, your damage at this point is kind of based on your reload. That's going to be your number one thing to get up.
It's like stun Damba, except
stun
damage
Damba,
instead of...
you know, like, well, I don't even want to say it's better on this map because you can guarantee the damage versus...
The damage is there, right?
You have to be a really good Damba to make the stun Damba machine work.
I guess that's really true. I mean, trying to remember back to the lineups that we saw come out here for this game. Is the dredge enough to give the lineup favor to Na'Vi, do you think?
I actually feel like it might be detrimental. Like it might be one of those things that like
too spicy.
There's
too much spice.
It could be overstepping. Like you're ahead. It is good on Ice Mines, and I believe they can play it, but it's kind of one of those, how much have you been practicing this? Like how, like, is this a real deep in your pocket Ice Mine specific thing that you have been running? Or is this well, we saw it work once a while ago, or we practiced it like once or twice. Let's see if we can do it against Kanga, because then that kind of scenario does lend towards Kanga. And I think they have a very solid, I mean, they got Ruckus, they got Zen, they have Barrick. Like they have a lot on their side that's going to just keep them comfortable.
Do you, I guess in that case, the question's kind of answered. Do you like triple tank then on Ice Mines?
I think NIP has showed us that it works, and while I don't personally like triple tank because I think it, well, usually slows down the pace of the game, I think if you are a team in like NIP's shoes, you can really turn that level up to the point where it's like, okay, well, you're 10-3 or 18-3 or 18-6 or whatever it was, is Barrick. You're perfectly fine to be able to run it. I don't know if Kanga have that as comfortable as NIP have that. I'm wondering if this is we've seen other teams do it, we're trying to adopt it ourselves. Obviously, NIP kind of, I'm not even going to dub them the creators of it, but the ones that have kind of brought it to this LAN, this league as it is, are the ones that have been, I want to say, kind of taking those strides for other teams. So Kanga is going to be trying to catch up to them, and I'd love to see it be successful, but I don't know.
I mean,
I just don't know.
They're close. I mean, they're close. I mean, we've seen a couple 4-3s in this set. Kanga even taking a game off, so no 4-1 for, or no 4-0, excuse me, for you, Mr. Lazy. It's going to be a 3-1 at least, or a 4-1 at least, if they're able to see this one through. I'm excited to see the way the dredge plays out on this map. We've seen the AoE find some success. You get combustible Drogos, the Bomb King as well, even some Pip coming out on a map like Ice Mine. So the dredge, I mean, it's not really a far shout from the way some of those other kids look.
That's the one thing that I think, you know, Bomb King brings a lot of burst damage, right? Drogos brings a lot of burst damage, but there's big timers. There's times that you can say, cool, that's down. I can get aggressive now. I can jump into this. It's going to be slightly less with Bomb King than it is with a Drogos, right? And then it's even less with a Dredge. The thing that Dredge has here that I think is going to make a big difference is going to specifically be Kanga aren't going to have time. Unless they kill him first, unless they go out of their way to get rid of Mutu here, it is going to be difficult to get back to him and kind of take him down. So I'm looking at what Mutu can do in terms of his denial, in terms of the fact that admittedly there's not going to be a safe place to stand in regards to the point or even the windows if he aims high enough. It's going to definitely go in their favor, but they have Evil Eye, they have Chronix, they have Rhino. All of those, I think, are perfect for being able to get back and in his face and kind of force him out.
The Dark Bargain as well, standing near his shortcut's going to give him just a little extra healing on top of what he normally gets. So the sustain will be there. Some of the AoE damage already starting to connect here for Mutu. Looking to convert that into a few kills. Unfortunately, he's going to find a Ruckus. He's going to get the shorter end of that stick, but he's going to get himself out. Well played there, utilizing the shortcut and even getting a first blood to boot. Phoenix and Mutu combining for the first 2 kills here for Na'Vi. Make that 3. Jules is able to answer back, but unfortunately kills are all red here in Kanga. Whew. They didn't even get a touch on the point.
And what's impressive is, admittedly, Dredge here has been kind of, not necessarily, I don't even want to say it was like a big nerf for him, but the things that were making him strong were kind of pulled away from his kit to make it a little less spammy, a little less kind of scuttle-oriented. So you could still run it, you could still look good doing it, but it wouldn't work as well. And honestly, if we could bring up his cards one more time, I'd love to be able to point out the one that's Crow's Nest, which was kind of added at one point. Broadside knocks you up, and for this one, it's 500. First off, it is insane if you get it at the highest level. But when you look at a card like that, and specifically what I guess it kind of used to be, where it was, we're going to give you a little more reload speed for your loadout, this is another way for Mutu to potentially get himself out of danger, right? He not only has a teleport, but he can just bop himself away from the fight if he needs to.
Well, that's going to be the ultimate. It's going to find some damage. Not going to find the kills for him, though. Evil Eye's going to put the kibosh on that one. Couple kills for Blue here. Kanga Esports able to start off really well on this defense here. Evil Eye, though, on the Xin is going to be the driving force for it. Natus Vincere on the back foot. Still a minute and a half, though. Plenty of time to work in it. I mean, you've seen 1 point fight and half a push. How do you feel about the dredge up to this point?
I like it, but because it's not only the spice that we thought we were going to get, we're not only getting the, I want to say the loadout that you would want to see, as well as the itemization you would want to see from them, but really, we're getting a different play style. It's not just sit back and spam grenades all the time. He's getting in your face. He's actually making sure to kind of push some of these angles with it. And again, I don't know how often Na'Vi have practiced this to feel confident with it, but you don't jump into someone's, like, into a Ruckus's face with Dredge unless you are very confident in your level of play.
Well, he got the shorter end of that one, but he's come back. He's top damage in the game at the moment. Pouring out the damage, still top damage by a pretty good margin here. Kills are all red here. He's going to take a shortcut, get himself back and healthy at the moment. And honestly, like, Kanga have been able to find, like, a kill in these fights. They've been able to find, like, some respite in it. They find one pick. But Natus Vincere are essentially sweeping it after that. Yeah, look, I mean, 2 deaths is the most. You have Evil Eye really playing his heart out on this Xin, 4-2. So fantastic stuff from him. But not the presence from the rest of his lineup.
This is actually the angle, though, where I want to see the shift, specifically from Na'Vi. I want to see how they can fare in the latter half of this push, because once it gets to this area, there's a lot more high ground fighting, and Dredge is not necessarily the one who is the best to shoot up into the air. Those arcs on those grenades can be good. As you can see, he can still hit his shots. It's just not quite as convenient as it would be. Again, you need a little bit more practice to make sure you can make it work the way that it normally does. I'd also like to point out that we're not seeing anywhere near as much right-click spam as we used to out of Dredge. It is all going to be left-click here so far from Mutu. Just basic shots followed up by the reload to be able to find his damage.
Well, Creatives is going to be the first to fall, followed by Mutu as well. Chronix and the rest of the Kanga boys able to successfully defend this one. That spray is hilarious. I just cannot get over the Microsoft
Paint ones. They're so good.
I saw the Inara wall one again the other day.
That's
and
that was the light that we got from a very dark time.
Yeah.
That we don't talk about.
Yeah, we won't reflect.
It's just like, you know how you don't mention the Dark Ages unless you're in history class.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Because they were darker times. That's fair. That's fair. I understand that. Evil Eye continues his tear, though. 5-2 on the Xin. The defense sort of played out how I think you thought it would. The high ground, you know, favoring the Kanga champions over the Natus Vincere champions. Healing essentially even here as we go into point fight number 2. The reload, the deft hands coming out for Mutu on that Dredge. I guess that's to be expected when he's running the reload detonation. Mutu, though, gets the spite, but does not end up falling as a result. The ultimates are going to come out. Here's the banner, or the assert dominance, excuse me, and he is able to teleport himself out of it. Chronix, though, is going to pull out the Hexafire, finds a lot of damage into the shields, though, and as well as the seismic crash, but that's right into a dome shield at Barrack, so he's going to be safe at the moment. Lazy's turned his sights now on to Evil Eye, who's able to get himself out. All of Natus Vincere is right above this Xin at the moment. He could flank them, find some pressure off to the side. Mutu, though, is able to find a kill. So Natus Vincere looking to retake.
just watching the amount of damage that Dredge can do, if given the opportunity, is just so ridiculous. And again, being able to stay alive, using these teleporters, and that one was partially to get out of there, but I think also partially to kind of give himself some of that healing. You throw that down, you stand around, you keep yourself in cover, and you don't have to worry about one out-of-combat healing or bothering Spunky in this case to be able to stay in the engagement. You can keep going around. Now he's just going to be able to teleport, get on out of there. But Chronix with a triple kill, looking for 4, maybe looking for 5 if he can turn around fast enough.
Find the Penta! Ah, Spunky's going to run away.
That just came out of nowhere.
It really did. Chronix tried and true, very patient in that fight. There were a lot of really low health bars on Natus Vincere. But honestly, it takes a lot of restraint not to immediately jump in and try to finish some of those off. So props to Chronix for finding the right time to capitalize on that. Kanga actually take the lead here. A defense into a point capture puts them up 2-1, and some kills are starting to roll in their favor here. I know you said that maybe on the defensive end, Kanga had a better lineup towards the end of the push. Do you think that kind of evens itself out, though, now that Natus Vincere are the ones on defense?
I think...
Oh, no.
And actually, yeah, I think, honestly, so Kanga, the one thing they had going for them, again, was kind of high ground fights, and admittedly, a lot of survivability. That's the one thing that triple frontline's always going to give you. You just live through fights. It's what you do. He's on a vacation right now. I got kind of caught up watching him and was just like, where are you going? Mutu's going to kill him off.
Goes.
I would have left him back there, if I'm being
honestly,
honest. I would have just got stood like the payload and left him standing in the base. What's he going to do, run back?
Maybe. Hey, we saw the Grok play that essentially turned the game on its head, so maybe not wanting to let it go that far.
Not that far, but still enough to lock him down. He goes pretty deep, then gets staggered out. A minute left for Ice Mines is a long time to be able to go through if you're defending. But it's not, honestly, as long as you'd like if you are the team trying to get the push, especially when you lose 2 members just like that. But I think Na'Vi, needless to say, have just as defensive of a team as we saw out of Kanga.
See, that's why you're so smart, Gore. You let the game answer the question for you, and then you're like, yep, that's what I was going to say anyway. I'm on to your tricks.
I was actually, no, what I was going to say was that not only is triple frontline defensive, but also they have the high ground, which is just going to be difficult for Dredge. But then you flip it on its head, and you're like, well, now Dredge is on the high ground, and you're trying to fight into him, and you don't really have anyone to find kills. So it's like, even if, let's say, we flip this, and Kanga are fighting at this point on Navi's side, I still don't know if it's going to be enough for them to fully break a base.
Well, they only have 15 seconds left to do it, and they need to win 2 team fights to even get back to the payload here. They're going to get some kills. But a nice stun there from Spunky. Is going to really stall out this one. 3 seconds left. Natus Vincere find themselves the defense. 5 strong ultimates, although overtime's going to start ticking away here. But winning an overtime push from essentially the start is a pretty tall task. I don't know if we've seen it, but Creatives with the 666 slash line could spell danger here for Natus Vincere. That's pretty unlucky if you ask me. So Kanga Esports still with a chance. The breath of hope here to try to get this one pushed through. Lazy, unfortunately, dropping Rhino is likely going to spell the end of this push unless it can really get caught out, and that's going to spell the end of it here. So tied up at 2-2, Gore. Going into point fight number 3.
This is the Ice Mines I remember.
This is the Ice Mines that you dream of.
Yeah, this is the one that
you
we
rest
all have
your head on.
nightmares of.
You rest your head on the pillow.
And I fall asleep dreaming of a 3-3 point fight on Ice Mines.
You count points as they jump over the fence. It's 1-1, 2-1, 2-2, and then by the end of it, 4-3. You're snoozing away.
Might not be a bad way. Someone try going to sleep like that and see if it works. Get back to me on the results.
Count the Ice Mines points.
But the thing is and this is my eyes. This is the reason I used to complain about Ice Mines, and also the reason I used to complain about triple frontline. Triple frontline, I think, will work if you are just inherently a better team and you have a better plan with it. I feel like Kanga have the plan, but mechanically not quite on the same level as Na'Vi. They're really good players, so don't get me wrong on that. But it's just, you're going up against Na'Vi. You need a distinct lead, I think, to make it work. That's the reason that NIP make it look so good, is even when they're on par with you, they understand what they're doing. So like their plan plus their execution ends up going ahead.
Well, the execution, it's not really coming out for either team. The Dome Shield's going to be enough to keep Kanga on the point at the moment, though, and it's actually Natus Vincere who are now on the back foot, and they used all of their ultimates except for the Immortal. Both sides did the same. Hexafire, Dome Shield, the whole lot of it. The kitchen sink as well getting used up. Evil Eye, though, dropping. I mean, that's the real damage threat here from Kanga. You draft triple frontline to protect your DPS dealer, and unfortunately, he's going to be the one to fall here. So Natus Vincere with a successful retake of the point. The Immortal, the lone ultimate left in the game here for Natus Vincere to try to get back into it. Although they are back into it, to stave off Kanga, I should say. Ruckus is going to be the next one to fall. 84% here for Natus Vincere. Can Kanga retake Gore? That's the question.
I'm going to be 100%. I was genuinely convinced that they had already captured at this point, and I was like, this is a point fight. I was
Are you counting points over there, Gore? Are you snoozing?
Points.
Oh, no,
because,
Creatives.
Then you get moments like this.
Oh, no. Well, Creatives, a nice double, not missing any shots. That's a clean 5 for 0 for Natus Vincere. I don't think they needed it. They would have captured it anyway, but now we see where Kanga were able to stall out Natus Vincere on push number 1. Phoenix, 8-5 and 15, 9-6 Creatives, 9-6 Mutu as well. Evil Eye, the lone positive player on the side of Kanga.
This is actually, if Kanga can win a fight right here, which unfortunately now it's going 2 for 1 in terms of trading, this is one of the best places to try and defend, is to stop the payload
Mutu
right here, but it's Mutu, a double kill, one before a triple kill here. That's 4 kills in the fight for the Dredge. The camera shake is well
blasting some fireworks into the stratosphere, cleaning up the kills there. Natus Vincere on the front foot, 22 streak burning away for the Damba. Utilizing some healing from the points there, tossing out some harpoons. That's not where his damage is really going to come from, and I think that fight, Gore, really showed us the possible damage that Mutu can do on this Dredge. I mean, I think he really maximized all of the damage he possibly could have done in that fight. This payload's close to going in.
And I know we're going to see it at the end of the game, but I'd love to see like the damage charts as of right now as the seismic crash comes through, just to see Dredge at the 130,000. Yeah, 20,000 still ahead of everybody else as Na'Vi are looking to try and push this one in. They've got low health bars though, so it's a dangerous game.
Yeah, Rhino and Chronix are going to be the first 2 to fall. This likely spells doom here for Kanga, but the respawns are on their side. The Dome Shield's going to buy some time for them as well. Oh, Creatives is going to be the next to fall though. That's a big offensive presence on the side of Natus Vincere. Makes life a little bit harder. Rhino as well. The kills are going back 1 for 1. Lazy is still around here though. He's going to be around to contest. If he falls, this could be a good defense from Kanga, but Mutu's coming back alive. A double kill in this fight for him. Phoenix cleans up number 3. Down comes the banner from the Ash though, and he cleans up Lazy. This is going so far back and forth, Gore, and there's still 30 seconds left.
That blows my mind right there. That's the thing that blew my mind the most. There's still 30 seconds left in the
round.
round.
Overtime was around.
This was going to be the 3-3 for sure. And that game means they still have time. It's going to be very difficult to get in there and touch in overtime. That payload is not in the best spot to try and fight for overtime. But, I mean, you can get everybody back. You have a Kraken ready for yourself, a Dread Serpent ready. If you want to commit a couple more ultimates, or if you just want to try to charge as much as you can get in here. How is this fight going to go for Na'Vi?
That's the question. The Dread Serpent's around. The Kraken comes out. Doesn't really find much of an impact on that one. Creatives goes low. That's a tough start here for this push for Natus Vincere. The rest of the health bar starting to melt down as well. Chronix is able to clean up Lazy, and Phoenix drops the lonely kill here, the lowly kill for Natus Vincere. Evil Eye coming back alive on this Zin. Overtime's going to tick away, and it is finally going to be 3-3.
Not often do you get a 30-second payload fight. That is way more intense than the overtime payload fight.
Ice Mine's living up, you know, to its background. It's the bio. It's what you read. It's destined for a 4-3. This matchup seems like it's destined for a 4-3. I think of the 4 games we've played, I guess considering this one number 5, this would be the third 4-3 that we see coming out here. Dome Shield, Whirlwind, Spite, all ready for Kanga. Only the... just listen to the grumbling of this. I was like, wait, what is that in my ear? And
It's unsure. Could be Zin. Might also be getting word that it could be Evil Eye. That's maybe his comms right now. That's how I feel after a 3-3.
I was not ready for that. The Spite's going to get used right off the bat to just get rid of Phoenix. Mutu as well falls. Trading out his life there as Joel's Creatives is going to be the one to clean that one up. Here's the Whirlwind, though, into the seismic crash. Chronix is going to fall. That's good for 2 for Creatives. Lazy as well finds 1, so Kanga down to their final 2. They're on the point, but Creatives is tearing through the rest of the Kanga lineup.
Says, all right, you can take 2. We'll eat that one. We'll hold it. That's a loss that we have to take. I'll just kill everybody else. Who cares? They get a dope shield. Look how far away from the point is that. Is a big win, and that is a showcase. Lazy gets Evil Eye on top of that. They get rid of that ultimate. They're at 63%. That is Na'Vi playing like Na'Vi.
Na'Vi playing like Na'Vi. 3-3 here, 81%. Down comes the assert dominance from Rhino, trying to flip this one around. 81% though for Natus Vincere. Playing with the match on the line, our Kanga right now. You got to find a way to deal with this Mutu. The Hexafire could be it, and it is going to be a Chronix and Evil Eye combining for a couple. The Fernando pops the Immortal, though. That's going to keep himself alive. Phoenix keeping himself alive, at least for a moment. Creatives, in the meantime, is able to answer back with a kill of his own. And Rhino is going to be the next to fall, and that surely is going to be it. And it looks like Natus Vincere are coming back in a big way, but the barracks around, it could stall it out. I may have spoken too soon here. He's going to fall. That is going to be it. Natus Vincere finally clean it up. Another 4-3, but 4-1 on the day is Na'Vi.
Take a page out of NIP's playbook and ban Cassie. Take a page out of VP's playbook and ban Cassie. Like, recognize why she is so good, and it is exactly what Creatives was just able to do to Kanga. It was a lot of control coming down from them, and admittedly, there was a moment that Hexafire comes through.
Yeah.
Kraken fails from Mutu, almost enough to kind of return the damage, maybe even cause it to be troublesome. If that Immortal's not there, Kanga come back and they win that fight. Maybe things go a little differently. Maybe we go to another map. But Creatives, I mean, there's a reason he's got some MVPs under his belt.
He does have a couple, showing us why here today. Na'Vi able to clean it up. 4-1. You got to give hats off to Kanga, though. I mean, they essentially fought tooth and nail throughout this entire set, coming up just a little bit short here today. That's going to do it for our second set of the day. Send it back to Evan and Nick on the desk.
Well, Natus Vincere take the win. And again, all good sportsmanship, all handshakes and smiles. They definitely had to work for it, though, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, that was a great showing there. Try to spice it up a little bit with the 3 front lines, but having Dredge, having Big Game Cassie, having pretty much everything on paper that is optimal to counter that setup proved to be superior for Na'Vi there. Wasn't exactly the easiest game of the set. I think that Brightmarsh game had to be probably close to one of the fastest PPL games that we've seen so far, but Na'Vi definitely looking strong.
It's been a good day. I mean, of Paladins, you know, we have Natus Vincere taking the win. We have NIP taking the win, although we thought Virtus Pro might have put up more of a contest as far as, you know, 4-3s or maybe even winning that set. It was Kanga who really extended the time this set was going, and much to your credit in expecting that from them. They've got a lot to look forward to tomorrow. Kanga VP should be relatively contested as well. And we know Natus Vincere and NIP. That'll be exciting to watch also. Mutu back in action, 17-10 on the Dredge. And looking good. Brought out a little bit of the craziness.
Yeah. A lot of slash lines looking very, very strong for Na'Vi, despite the game lasting as long as it did here on Ice Mines. That's just a bit of how the composition's supposed to work there with the 3 front lines. They almost Na'Vi'd. You can play the objective, still lose all the KDs and go negative and things like that. Na'Vi have really shown us more so than anyone that it's very possible to do that type of thing here, but the Dredge was pretty locked in.
And, you know, consistently going in just with the straight left clicks, not a lot of broadside usage at all. Really not looking to zone, not looking to create space or apply that pressure over time. Just really wanting those direct attacks. There's a ton of DPS in them. And
there is.
Going for the reloads when he feels like he needs a little bit of cleanup.
Oh, it's just, they're just bigger. It's not optimal DPS to be constantly reloading and attacking, but if you are just hitting the left clicks, it is very, very effective DPS. But that's what, it's the trade-off that you get. It's a massive explosion from the reload.
It's a lot of damage. It's a lot of area. It's Dredge. It's the captain. He definitely took it to them today, and Kanga will go back to the drawing board for tomorrow, but Natus Vincere, they will take the win. And alongside NIP, we'll be looking to storm towards the top again of the standings, as those will be showing up on your screen in just a moment. We obviously saw Virtus Pro, who already had a loss, take their second. NIP continue to be undefeated. And it does set up a really interesting kind of narrative for this season, Nick. With,
Definitely.
Great teams, but still a lot of punches being taken by everyone except the Ninjas.
Really, really looking forward to that matchup next week between NIP and Na'Vi. The two guys still floating up near the top. NIP basically perfect. Almost. I believe they've dropped 2 maps so far through their 4 sets.
Yeah.
But they are sitting undefeated. Space Station technically still undefeated, just
True.
a little bit late out
True.
of the gate. We'll have to see how long they can keep that going as well.
Yeah, and Kanga, obviously, it's going to be important because if they beat Virtus Pro, they'll be tied, essentially, in the standings. It'll be 2 and 3 apiece for them. Right now, if Virtus Pro wins, it'll be extending quite a bit of their already big advantage, and Kanga will go to 1 and 4, which is not where you want to be, and is exactly the scoreline for today's set. So hopefully that's the last 1 and 4 they see for the week. Virtus Pro, they are going to be going up against Natus Vincere. Kanga Esports, actually, I guess this is... Am I just tripping?
What?
Well, no. I mean, taking a look at tomorrow, I was thinking Navi and NIP were playing.
No,
Was I just
next
tripping?
week.
Oh,
Next
week.
Friday, I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah. That's gonna be. There it is. So tomorrow. Okay, so I previewed a little bit of what was coming a little farther away. Maybe I'm just a little.
You're
bit,
just so excited to
jumpy.
get there.
I might also just be recognizing that that's the games I'll be here for. I'm not going to be here for those games tomorrow. You guys are going to have Meta Pusher joining you on the desk.
Yeah.
So that'll be cool. You get a professional coach and analyst to give his POV. The following week after that, we'll have Kresnik joining us as well for the Console League and the Minor League, not this upcoming week, but the week after. So there's a lot of really cool guest special stars coming up for the PML and the PPL. We do have some words, though, with the victory, with the winners, the winner royale, so to speak, as we head down to the interview table with Natus Vincere. It's Dave and Gore on the sidelines with your winners of the last set of today.
And Mutu here, and I kind of want to rewind it. Creatives, you had, not Mutu, Lazy. Why did I say Mutu? I was prepared for that, and then I goofed it up. Creatives, I'm going to talk to you about your casting in a second, but the first thing I want to know, where did the dredge come from for the last map? Was that an Ice Mine specific thing you guys have been practicing?
The dredge for the Ice Mines? I mean, we've seen in the past like how it works. For example, with Digidog, especially on NIP playing it, people just stop using it for some reason, and then people kind of like are not used to it anymore. So the moment you pick out dredge again, everybody just gets that PTSD moment, like looking back and like, oh no, not this again. So that's kind of like one of those moments. Like it's basically just because people don't play it, so they're not used to it at all.
No one expected it, so you can bring it out and have it be strong. The one thing I think people at this point should be expecting is Cassie, Leon, those two champions have been very big and creative. That last game, it just kind of like a switch just flicked and you were all of a sudden like getting doubles, triples constantly. Going into that last point fight, it's 3-3. Like, were you guys already sure that you were going to win that because you knew your performance would be just that good?
No, actually the last point was very close. And I don't know.
The last point was very close. It was actually like, I can't actually remember the situation because there was like so much stuff going on. Like Phoenix got one shot by Zin, and we already called for the reset.
At one point, everybody was like one shot, and I had no idea how to shoot, so I just kind of popped off.
Kanga threw it because they had the snowball, but Grower went too deep with Ruckus, and there was an hour falling back, so I could just wall off the two of them, and we could just isolate the two of them and just kill them. That's what happened. So they just went too deep after the snowball, and that's what they lost the point for.
I think Spunky clutched the last point with his ult.
Kind of get themselves just locked up. Well, thank you guys for your time. Congratulations on your win. 4-1 to Kanga, not quite the 4-0 I think people were expecting, but still congratulations for you nonetheless. The rise back to the top as you grind through. But thank you for your time. We'll talk to you next time.